Chapter 438. Are you interested in becoming the master of the three realms? Demon Realm. The glorious palace was gloomy. A black-robed man sat on the highest seat in the palace. He held a glass of blood-like viscous alcohol in his hand and continuously swirled it. Below him, Su Yun stood proudly, a hint of disdain on his face. As for Guli, who he saved, he stood roughly half a meter away from him. Guli, you're saying that Su Yun intentionally wanted to let our mission target go? The man on the high seat smiled faintly. His curled lips made it hard for others to guess what he was really thinking at this moment. Lord Black Dragon, everything I said is the truth. In the other world, the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation held the Xinyuan sword. I already clearly told Su Yun his identity, but he told me that he didn't recognize the Xinyuan sword and attacked me. Guli bowed. Lord Black Dragon smiled faintly, then glanced at Su Yun. Lil Su, what do you say? Lil Su, what do you say? I have nothing to say, Su Yun replied without changing his expression. But Little Goose said that to our devil race, you are guilty. Lord Black Dragon still had a faint smile on his face, but there was a hint of warning in his tone. I don't want to waste too much time talking about something that doesn't exist. I went to the other world because you told me to save this brat. Even if that person really is the Yellow Emperor, what does that have to do with me? Su Yun shrugged. If you think I'm wrong, then I'll leave the demon race. What do you think? Lil Su is still so domineering. Lord Black Dragon squinted his eyes and smiled. Guli also sneered and cursed. Lord Black Dragon, did you hear that? He even wants to betray the demon race. This kind of person cannot be left alive. Also, whatever nonsense he said, Dio was there as well. Why don't we find him and confront him? Grandson, if you keep messing around with me, I feel like I should just kill you right here. Su Yun tilted his head, and a hint of indifference flashed across his eyes. Gulp. Guli instinctively gulped, then took 2 steps back. Black Dragon, who sat high above, chuckled and said, Don't worry, you'll be fine. Alright, this matter ends here. Little Su only went to the other world to save you. As for the Yellow Emperor, he doesn't know. In a moment, I'll have someone send the Yellow Emperor's mission to Little Su's residence. Next time. I hope this won't happen again. Su Yun didn't hesitate in the slightest. He left the palace without looking back. The moment he left, Guli frowned darkly and snorted, Your Excellency Black Dragon, just look at him. He doesn't care about you at all. Alright, I said that this matter ends here. A hint of anger surfaced on Black Dragon's face. Seeing this, Guli didn't dare say another word. Stand down. There was no need to doubt Black Dragon's words. Guli obediently left the palace. Only then did Lord Black Dragon pour the blood-like wine into his mouth. His tongue licked the corner of his mouth as a meaningful smile appeared on his face. Boss, it's more or less cleaned up. Wei Chen nodded, then walked in front of Yi Zichen. At that moment, Yi Zichen was discussing something with Tai Bai Jinxing. When he saw Wei Chen walk over, he immediately turned around and raised his eyebrows. What do you think? It's almost been cleaned up. We'll leave a small team here to clean up the aftermath. Yi Zichen nodded. Alright, then I'll leave the rest to you guys. Alright. After leaving the other world and returning to the modern realm, Yi Zichen subconsciously looked at the gap that had been torn open when he entered. Fortunately, the gap had already been repaired by Wei Chen and the others. Even though these gaps have been repaired, the gaps repaired by spiritual energy can only prevent the leakage of nether demonic energy. If something as large as the one just now happens again, these gaps are nothing more than a piece of scrap paper to them. Tai Bai Jinxing narrowed his eyes and replied with a solemn tone. He, who had fought with the devil race many times, knew very well that these were just appetizers. If the devil race was really prepared to attack the modern world, it was only a matter of time before it fell. Just now, he'd already probed the strength of the people by Yi Zichen's side. Compared to demons, they were still too weak. Let's take it one step at a time. Yi Zichen also sighed. He already felt tired after dealing with so many giant abyssals. If it was a true demon attack, absolute strength was needed. Ignoring everyone else, even Su Yun himself felt a hint of helplessness when he faced Yi Zichen. It wasn't just Yi Zichen's mastery in formations. Didn't Yi Zichen also effortlessly crush my sword energy? Oh yeah, Tai Bai. Didn't you say that you had something you wanted to discuss with me in the other world? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows as he strolled along the street. Tai Bai Jinxing was stunned for a moment, then raised his eyebrows. Aha! Then say it. At that moment the two of them were in the same boat. They were bound together for good or bad. I thought too much back then. I feel like there's no need to tell you now, Tai Bai Jinxing shrugged. Yi Zichen immediately rolled his eyes. If you want to say it, then hurry up and say it. Why are you taking so long? Hee, so what if I say it? What I want to talk about is the reputation of the three realms. Do you know what reputation is? Tai Bai Jinxing replied in annoyance, then rolled his eyes and snorted. Just cultivate properly. You should focus on your cultivation. Don't meddle in everything. Reputation. Was this old man talking about the inexplicable prestige he had obtained? Yi Zichen raised his hand and tapped Tai Bai Jinxing's shoulder, then handed his phone over and raised his eyebrows as he pointed at the 227 reputation. Are you talking about this thing? What? Tai Bai Jinxing frowned. When he saw the reputation on the top of the phone, reputation? You actually have reputation? But why is it displayed on social media? We are all displayed on the top of the leaderboard. Yi Zichen had no right to say anything about that. He didn't understand what Tai Bai Jinxing was talking about at all. Leaderboard. This thing has a leaderboard? Never mind, your existence itself is rather strange. But since you have reputation, then that's great. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head, while a hint of struggle flashed across his eyes. Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head while a trace of struggle flashed through the space between his brows, and then he said, Are you interested in playing as the master of the three dimensions? Yi Zichen looked up in confusion and looked at Tai Bai Jinxing's aged face. Chapter 439. Chapter 439. Third Fatty Jean returns to the immortal region. Just what the hell is this geezer talking about? Master of the three realms. Yi Zichen didn't even understand what was going on in the modern realm, but this geezer actually wants him to be the master of the three realms. Are the Jade Emperor and the Great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens that easy to bully? Doesn't being the master of the three realms mean that I have to ride on top of them? Yi Zichen felt that it was impossible. Brat, what's with that expression? From what I see, you should be rather ambitious. You don't want to be the master of the three realms, the supreme ruler of the three realms? Tai Bai Jinxing smiled faintly. He already had this idea when he descended to the lower realm. The three realms had been peaceful for far too long, so much so that it was slowly turning into internal strife. The demons' ambitions were definitely not limited to the modern realm. Their goal was definitely the three realms and even higher realms. They needed the power of the three realms to fight against the demons, but the leaders of the three realms all had their own agendas. They had to choose a master that could command the three realms, and he felt like Yi Zichen was a good candidate. All of the top fighting forces in the heavenly court were in this brat's hands. As for the underworld, he refused to believe that this brat wouldn't know any powerful people. More importantly, his identity allowed him to wield the Xianyuan sword. He was the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Back then, the Yellow Emperor was one of the higher-ups in the rogue immortal region. If he truly became the master of the three realms, then the immortal region would definitely support him. That way, it would be much easier for the struggle of the three realms to have supporters in the three realms. Don't think too highly of me. Ambition has to be built on one's own strength. I'm merely a puny earth immortal right now. Don't you think it's ridiculous for you to ask me to be the master of the three realms? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes in annoyance. He was ambitious, but that didn't mean he was brainless. In any case, he believed that he couldn't beat the Jade Emperor and the great Sacred Emperor equaling heavens. Even if he had the support of the rogue immortals. If they could really fight against two realms, then they wouldn't have to split the three realms with the heavenly court and the underworld. Brat, don't overcomplicate things. I'm simply asking you if you want to be the master of the three realms for fun. Let's put your worries aside for now. Of course I want to. If I don't want to, there's something wrong with my brain. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. Master of the three realms? That sounded like a rather domineering existence. Who wouldn't want it? If that's the case, then it's enough. Tai Bai Jingxing's eyes flashed as he smiled meaningfully. Yi Zichen felt like he had been tricked when he saw the old man's cunning smile. Hey, don't tell me you're trying to trick me again. Yi Zichen subconsciously stopped. Tai Bai Jingxing shook his head with a smile. How could that be? We're comrades. From now on, I will train you to become the Lord of the Three Realms. As long as you agree, I will give you my Dao as a present. Cough cough, one who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. But even though Yi Zichen understood, he had no way of refusing. That was 10 billion cultivation experience. Even though he knew this old man was digging a hole for him, he could only close his eyes and jump in. Phew. Can I ask you a question? Ask away. Tai Bai Jingxing smiled faintly. Why do you want to train me to be the Lord of the Three Realms? Wasn't the Jade Emperor of the Heavenly Court a better candidate? He is the Lord of a realm, and his strength is terrifyingly strong. Don't you think that your question is very stupid? I've already left the Heavenly Court. Tai Bai Jingxing rolled his eyes in annoyance. Do you think I'm willing to spend so much effort to train a newbie like you? But even if I didn't leave, the Jade Emperor isn't a good candidate. Why? The Three Realms have been peaceful for far too long. The Jade Emperor has already lost his edge. Right now, he's mediocre, useless. He's living a comfortable life. He isn't suitable to be the Lord of the Three Realms. Especially in a situation like this, the Lord of the Three Realms needs a hot-blooded person. Tai Bai Jingxing squinted his eyes with a smile, then patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. No matter if it's you or me, we both need this chance. If we want to fight against the demons, then just the amount of people you have is not enough. Work hard for the goal of becoming the Lord of the Three Realms. Even if the chances of success are slim, we can't give up. For some reason, Tai Bai Jingxing's hopeful and slightly helpless gaze moved Yi Zichen's heart. Yi Zichen nodded blankly, then raised his eyebrows. Then how am I going to be the Lord of the Three Realms? Wait for the day of the struggle for the Three Realms. Tai Bai Jingxing squinted his eyes and replied. Yi Zichen arrived at the apartment near Polytechnic University. Tai Bai Jingxing had to arrange a place for him to stay in the lower realm. Yi Zichen pushed open the door and wanted to introduce his roommates to the fatty, but he didn't expect. The moment he pushed open the door, a pungent smell of moisture blew out from the room. When Yi Zichen entered the room, he saw that the coffee table and the floor were covered in a faint layer of dust. Coupled with the moisture in the room, it was clear that no one had lived there for a long time. Fatty! Yi Zichen shouted a few times, but did not get any response from the fatty. Just as he was wondering where the fat man had gone, he noticed a note on top of the coffee table in the room. Boss Yi, esteemed master contacted me and told me to return to the Three Realms. Thank you for taking care of me during this period of time. If fate allows it, then let's meet again in the Three Realms. The fatty actually returned to the Three Realms. Tai Bai casually placed the piece of paper on the table. With a doubtful expression, he picked up the piece of paper and read it once before opening his mouth to speak. Someone from the Three Realms used to live in this room? You've actually been living with someone from the Three Realms? Yi Zichen ignored Tai Bai Jingxing's exclamation. He was thinking about the reason for the fatty's departure. Great Emperor Qingming had pushed the fatty over for no reason. Not only did the fatty not help Yi Zichen at all, What's more, the fatty caused quite a bit of trouble for Yi Zichen. Now, this fatty was summoned back to the Three Realms for no reason. Just what is great Emperor Qingming doing? Hey brat! Tai Bai Jinxing also asked relentlessly. Yi Zichen turned around and frowned. Don't always call me brat. I have a name, Yi Zichen. Are you getting mad at this old man? Tai Bai Jinxing frowned. Yi Zichen immediately summoned Xianyuan's sword when he saw Tai Bai Jinxing's unfriendly expression. You can't bully my lil bro, Xianyuan Xiang smiled. Xianyuan Xiang smiled faintly. When he saw the spirit of the Xianyuan sword, Tai Bai Jinxing also rubbed his beard resentfully. He silently chanted a clear breeze technique to blow away the moisture and dust in the room, then sat down on the sofa. Heh, don't try to scare me. We have a backer, Yi Zichen snorted and sat down opposite him. Tai Bai Jinxing merely rolled his eyes. If he had the strength he had back when he was a god, then not to mention the sword spirit, even Yellow Emperor Xianyuan would only be a little bro. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw Tai Bai Jinxing's embarrassed look. He opened WeChat on his phone and glanced at the members of the Red Packet server. Chapter 440. A familiar smell. The chain reaction of Tai Bai Jinxing leaving the Heavenly Court was that the number of members in the Red Packet server skyrocketed. At that moment there were more than 100 members in the group. There were great immortals of the Heavenly Courts, as well as the Heavenly Soldiers and Heavenly Generals protecting the Heavenly Courts. However, their sole purpose in coming to this group was to seek the truth. Immortality, Peach Fairy. Great deity has appeared, but why did you come up to ask for a red packet, followed by a row of speechless emojis? This little girl could be said to be the most gossipy person in the Heavenly Court. As long as there was gossip, there would be her presence. God of Thunder, what red packets are you talking about? Don't you know how poor I am? Mother of Lightning, ditto. Canopy Marshal, look at what I, old pig, said. You guys don't believe me when I say that you have to give out red packets when you join the group. Erlingshin, yeah, give me a red packet. Old Lord Taishang, send a red envelope. Immortality Peach Fairy. Wow, Big Brother Pig, Big Brother Yangjian, Old Lord, I haven't seen you in a long time. Monkey King, hee hee, I, old son, am here too. God of Thunder, oh, isn't everyone here again? Alright, I'll just stay here from now on. Anyway, that bunch in the Heavenly Court is like a pool of stagnant water, so boring. Mother of Lightning, ditto. Yi Zichen was rather moved by this. When he first entered the Heavenly Court's chat group, these people were the most active. However, many things happened later on, and the members were scattered. Who would have thought that they would be able to meet again in their own group? She shook her head and smiled. She remembered that he was a typical lurker when he first joined. He would sneak into the group every day to wait for red packets. In the blink of an eye, so much time had passed. Don't be so emotional. Since we're all together now, shouldn't we show off our glory and send some red packets? This group is called the Red Packet Server. Do you think it's called that for nothing? He smiled faintly and sent a message in the group. The immortals in the group immediately started to complain about how poor they were. Immortality Peach Fairy. Sky Sovereign is a bad person. He lets you Lao earn our cultivation experience every day and even wants us to send red packet. God of Thunder, I am one of the poor. Canopy Marshal, I think you're a miser, stingy. After being in the Heavenly Court for so long, Old Pig has never seen you send red packets. Erlingshin, yeah right. Monkey King, ditto. God of Thunder, hey you guys, when did you start wearing the same pants? Old Lord Taishang, our revolutionary friendship isn't something you can understand. Little Lei, you're still too young. Mother of Lightning, has Lao Jun and Great Deity formed a united front? You Lao, cough cough, God of Fortune, since none of you are giving out red packets, I'll set an example. Ding dong. As soon as he finished speaking, the God of Fortune sent out a red envelope. Since Yi Zichen didn't have the habit of snatching red packets for a long time, his reaction was slightly slower. He was too slow, and the red packets were all snatched up. Not bad, it felt like when I first joined the group. Looking at the others' luck, it was no surprise that Yang Jian had the lowest. Monkey King. Erlang Shen, my son, is 1 yuan bao enough to eat? Erlang Shen. Monkey, don't think that Laozi is still the same Yang Jian from back then. Laozi doesn't lack this bit of ingot. Old Lord Taishang. TSK, TSK, TSK. Ever since Fight the Landlord appeared, Yang Jian's words have become more forceful. But don't you know who you won that money from? Erlang Shen, don't blame me for being muddle-headed. You Lao, are you saying that I'm senile? Erlang Shen, even if I don't say it, we all know it. It was as if Yang Jian was born with a halo of hatred. Even Yi Zichen couldn't help but want to beat him up when he saw what he said. The other deities in the group also acted as if they were watching a show, and shouted for them to fight. Amongst them, Immortality Peach Fairy shouted the loudest. Tai Bai Jinxing, what are you all shouting for? The moment Tai Bai Jinxing appeared, all the deities in the group ignored Yang Jian and company's fight, Immortality Peach Fairy. Tai Bai Jinxing, great deity, this little reporter wants to interview you. Why did you leave the Heavenly Court? Is it because the Heavenly Court has some dark secrets that we don't know about? God of Thunder, the one above is right. Another question, why did you return all of your celestial positions? Mother of Lightning, the one above asked a beautiful question. Another question. Rumor has it that you had a special relationship with the Jade Emperor back then. May I ask if this is true? Canopy Marshal, what kind of weird question is this? Monkey King, why don't I, old son, understand? Idiot, explain it to old Sunday Erlang Shen. They just want to ask if Geezer Tai Bai is the Jade Emperor's lover. You Lao, Yang Jian, you exploded. Old Lord Taishang. Yang Jian, you exploded. Erlang Shen, what happened to me? Just as Yang Jian was confused, Yi Zichen, who was sitting in the same room as Tai Bai Jinxing, felt a cold aura surge towards him. He subconsciously looked up, and saw that Tai Bai Jinxing's old face had already turned purplish red. Hee, geezer, calm down. Yang Jian said that, don't go crazy in front of me. This house is rather expensive, you can't afford to pay for it if you break it. Yi Zichen gulped and replied. Tai Bai Jinxing acted as if he didn't hear half of it, while the cold aura around him became even denser. Tai Bai Jinxing. Erlang Shen, something went wrong with this old man's phone just now. Can you explain it to me one more time? Erlang Shen, what kind of crappy phone is that? How about I give you one? I said just now, the question they want to ask is whether you are the Jade Emperor's lover. You Lao, old Lord Taishang, Canopy Marshal, Yi Zichen, should Yang Jian say that he was honest or stupid? He actually said it again. Hee, Tai Bai Jinxing, who was in the room, clenched his teeth so hard that they nearly shattered. Yi Zichen did not doubt that if Yang Jian was there, he would very likely be chopped into pieces. Tai Bai Jinxing, Yang Jian, you've grown up. Erlang Shen, it's all because of your teachings. Immortality Peach Fairy, why do I smell something different? Ahem, then this little reporter will leave first. God of Thunder, ditto. Mother of Lightning, ditto. Tai Bai Jinxing, good teaching, you really are good teaching. Let's get together when we have time, I'll definitely give you a good lesson. Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly, oh wow, did I, oldly, miss something? Third Prince Neza, hello Grandpa Tai Bai. Tai Bai Jinxing, good boy. Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly, Tai Bai, oldly, I never understood why you left the Heavenly Court. Oldly, I know you want to get rid of demons, just tell me. Erlang Shen, Yang Jian, and my Neza, can't the three of us help you? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he saw the message. I actually nearly forgot. Although Yang Jian's bro is rather unreliable, and Third Prince Neza is a silly Shota, the two of them are truly generals of the Heavenly Court, and both of them have a large number of subordinates. Erlang Shen, Geezerly, don't say it like that. I'm already standing on Tai Bai's side. Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly, oh? You're saying that you'll send troops to help Tai Bai? Erling Shin. Since my bro said that he's going to help this geezer, then I'll naturally help. Monkey King. Old son, will also help. Recently, I've been teaching my monkeys on Mount Huagua. Chapter 441. To form a clique, pagoda-bearing Heavenly Kingly, who was chatting in the Heavenly Palace, was stunned. It seemed like he was the only one without a team. To be honest, most of his words were just for show. Although he was a general of the Heavenly Courts and had military power, he was still the Jade Emperor's subordinate. The Jade Emperor had ordered the immortals of the Heavenly Court to be prohibited from interacting with Tai by jinxing. The fact that he could come to this group was already giving him a lot of face. However, Yang Jian and the ruffian monkey's words had obviously put him in a difficult position. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond. Monkey King. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly Kingly, Old Manly, where are you? Immortality Peach Fairy. Let me ask you a secret. What is exorcism? God of Thunder. Little Fairy is asking so many questions that shouldn't be asked. But then again, the Jade Emperor Erlang Shin. I almost forgot. God of Thunder, you also have quite a bit of military power, right? God of Thunder. Ahem, Tai Bai jinxing, hee, this old man doesn't mean to make things difficult for you. If you think it's difficult, just pretend that this old man never said it. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly Kingly. Tai Bai, you're treating me like an outsider. God of Thunder. That's right. To be honest, we do have military power. We have been colleagues in the Heavenly Court for so many years, and we sincerely want to help you. But at the end of the day, we are under the jurisdiction of the Jade Emperor. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly Kingly. I agree with the one above. Erlang Shin. To put it bluntly, it's just cowardice. Look at how the monkey and I didn't think so much. Mother of Lightning, you have a screw loose in your head. Everyone in the Heavenly Court knows that. Erlang Shin. Hey, you little bitch, why did you start cursing when I was just talking? Mother of Lightning. Little bitch? Erlang Shin. It's a respectful title for beautiful women. Mother of Lightning. Oh, then I am indeed a little bitch. Unbeknownst to them, Yang Jian's words instantly made little bitch popular in the Heavenly Court. As long as they met a pretty girl, there would be people calling her little bitch. Of course, this was all for later. While the people in the group were trying to form alliances, Yi Zichen didn't stay idle in private. Yi Zichen clicked onto Third Prince Nez's chat interface. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen felt a bit sad when he saw the cute Shota's profile picture. If he really had to bluff this little guy, he would feel a little guilty. But very quickly, he threw away his conscience. Compared to his life, the modern world, and the three realms, how much was conscience worth? Ahem, Third Prince, what are you doing? Neza, who was playing ball with the Immortality Peach Fairy in the Heavenly Court's Immortality Peach Garden, put down the ball and smiled at the Immortality Peach Fairy. Immortality Peach sis, wait for me. The Sky Sovereign just sent me a message. And then hurry up and talk to the Sky Sovereign. Big sister will be watching from the side. Immortality Peach Fairy chuckled. Third Prince Neza nodded his head, then tapped the screen and replied, Sky Sovereign, I'm playing football with Immortality Peach Big Sister. Why are you looking for me? The peaches of immortality are still here? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, but quickly ignored the Immortality Peach Fairy. This girl's temperament was only 17 or 18 years old. If it really couldn't be done, she would be tricked by both of them. The third prince is actually playing football with little sister Immortality Peach. How elegant. Ah, the Sky Sovereign called me little sister. Immortality Peach Fairy giggled as she jumped around in the back. Third Prince Neza also giggled and nodded as he replied, Yes, yes. How can your reply be so simple? Immortality Peach Fairy smacked the third prince's head, then snatched the phone over. Sky Sovereign, do you want to acknowledge Immortality Peach Fairy as your little sister? She's a smart, lively, cute, smart, generous, gentle, and kind girl. Yi Zichen immediately guessed that the person who sent the message was most likely Immortality Peach Fairy. He let out a soft sigh speechlessly, then replied, Immortality Peach Fairy, it's you, right? Hee hee, I can't hide it from the Sky Sovereign, Immortality Peach Fairy giggled. Immortality Peach Fairy giggled. Yi Zichen replied on his phone, actually, I do want you to be my stepsister, what do you think, really? If the Sky Sovereign doesn't mind, then I'm too willing. Immortality Peach Fairy replied without thinking. It was a blessing to be Sky Sovereign nameless little sister. With an older brother like that, she would have a huge backer in the heavenly court. What's more, she was filled with curiosity towards this mysterious Sky Sovereign. That's for the best, Yi Zichen smiled. Give the phone to the third prince. I have some things I want to discuss with him. All right, Yi Zichen replied happily. Then, Immortality Peach Fairy handed the phone to third Prince Neza and put her hands on her hip. Make sure to talk properly with the Sky Sovereign. Third Prince Neza nodded, then replied on his phone. Sky Sovereign, is there something you need from me? You really guessed it. Yi Zichen thought to himself, then typed out a reply. I heard that the third prince controls the military in the heavenly court? Yeah, I might be small, but I have more soldiers than my dad. Third Prince Neza curled his lips proudly. Neza smirked. Actually, he said that for Peach Blossom to see. He was a man. No matter how old he was, he would always show off his strong side in front of the girl he liked. However, those words were not so simple in Yi Zichen's eyes. More soldiers than pagoda-bearing heavenly kingly. That's definitely huge military power. I'm weak right now, if I can trick the third prince. Make him become my teammate, then that's a huge fighting force. Does the third prince like to be a righteous hero? Of course I do, third Prince Neza replied without thinking. My dad taught me to be a righteous person and a hero since I was young. But the heavenly court is too peaceful, so I can't be a hero. Then I have a way to be a righteous hero. Do you want to try it? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and smiled like a wolf. Yes, Sky Sovereign, tell me what to do. The third prince replied urgently. He really liked Immortality Peach Fairy, but she always felt like he was a kid. He desperately needed a chance to prove himself and let her know how amazing he was. Slay the demons. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. Third Prince Neza scratched his face when he saw the message. My dad told me not to get involved in this. Sky Sovereign, my dad won't let me. Then you don't want to be a hero? I do, but what if my dad hits me if I don't listen to him? Third Prince Neza replied helplessly. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes when he saw the reply. No problem, I still have a backup plan. Give the phone to Immortality Peach Fairy. Oh! He obediently handed the phone to the Immortality Peach Fairy. After receiving the phone, the Immortality Peach Fairy immediately replied on the screen. Big Brother Sky Sovereign, I saw your message just now. What do you want me to do? Is it difficult to deal with third Prince Neza? Simple. Chapter 442. Neza's commanders seal within the Immortality Peach Garden. Immortality Peach Fairy put her hands on her waist and glared at him. Third Prince Neza, who stood beside her, revealed a hint of confusion on his cute face. Immortality Peach Jejia, what's wrong? You're asking me what's wrong? Immortality Peach Fairy pouted angrily. Didn't you refuse when Sky Sovereign Nameless asked you for help just now? I couldn't do anything about it. My dad hit me. Third Prince Neza frowned pitifully. Hearing that, Immortality Peach Fairy turned her head to the side and ignored him. Seeing that, third Prince Neza was a bit anxious. Immortality Peach Jejia, didn't you always tell me that you've grown up? But now you're actually afraid of your dad hitting you? I've grown up. A hint of anger surfaced on third Prince Neza's Shota face, then twitched his mouth. Isn't it just helping Sky Sovereign slay demons? Can't I just help? It's not like my dad can beat me. Neza wrinkled his nose then snatched the phone over. Sky Sovereign, count me in. If you need help, then just come and find me. Oh yeah. In order to prevent any accidents. Ding dong. A red packet appeared on Yi Zichen's phone the moment he received the message. Why did this little fellow send me a red packet? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then clicked open the red packet. Commander's Seal X1. Yi Zichen was completely shocked when he saw the message. Third Prince Neza actually sent me a Commander's Seal? Yi Zichen clicked the treasure chest frantically. Commander's Seal. Third Prince Neza's Commander's Seal. This item can be used to command the Heavenly Court's soldiers. It really is Neza's Commander's Seal. Is this kid crazy? He actually sent out a Commander's Seal. Sky Sovereign, that's my Commander's Seal. If my father doesn't allow me to help you, you can use my Commander's Seal to deploy troop. Those soldiers in the celestial heavens will recognize Commander's Seals. The soldiers in the Heavenly Court recognize the Commander's Seal. Third Prince Neza replied with a frown, then glanced towards Immortality Peach Fairy. Yi Zichen was truly shocked by the little fellow. He merely wanted to trick the little fellow over. He didn't want the Commander's Seal. Alright. Third Prince Neza bitterly smiled as he handed the phone to the Immortality Peach Fairy with a tsundere face. Humph. Receiving the phone, the Immortality Peach Fairy, who had been looking at the chat history, naturally saw that this child had sent out the Commander's Seal. As soon as she got her phone, she replied on her phone. Brother Celestial Venerable, Neza is still young. The Commander's Seal. I won't use it randomly, Yi Zichen replied sincerely. That's good. Neza is still a little like a kid. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. He's pulling me to play ball with him again. Alright, go ahead. After exiting the chat, Yi Zichen stared blankly at the Commander's Seal in the treasure chest. If he could really get to the Heavenly Court, could he really get a batch of heavenly soldiers and generals from the Heavenly Court with this Commander's Seal? If it was in ancient times, he would be a general with great power. Kid, what are you doing? Yi Zichen looked up and glanced at Tai-Bai Jinxing, then clicked open the red packet server to read the contents. How's your progress? Heh, they're all people who like to be independent. I don't seem to have truly roped them in. But old Li and Lizenzi should be trying to help, Tai-Bai Jinxing replied plainly. Although he had left the Heavenly Court, the only way for him to get help was still through his old friends in the Heavenly Court. While it might be due to his own selfish desires, he was also doing it for the good of his old friends. If he could end the war in the modern realm's otherworld, then it would save the war from spreading to the three realms. That place was filled with all sorts of people, and the demons' attacks would be even more aggressive. Don't talk about me, I didn't see you helping me trick those guys in the group just now. Where did you go? Me? Yi Zichen handed the phone over and pointed at Neza's Commander's Seal. It seems like my progress was faster than yours. Tai-Bai Jinxing received the phone in confusion. When he saw the Commander's Seal in the treasure chest, "Are you crazy?" He stood up with a shout and chucked the phone back at Yi Zichen. You actually got Neza to send you the Commander's Seal. Just how gutsy are you? What are you panicking for? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth at Tai-Bai Jinxing, then picked up the phone and raised his eyebrows as he looked at the Commander's Seal. Neza sent this to me. He clearly said that he wanted to help. He merely sent the Commander's Seal to me to prevent some special situations from happening. It's messed up, it's all messed up. Tai-Bai Jinxing continuously shook his head. After a long while, he finally calmed down and let out a long sigh. It's fortunate that it was sent to you. If it was sent to someone else, then the Heavenly Court would be in huge trouble. Neza's military power is only second to Yang Jian's in the Heavenly Court. If someone with ulterior motives gets it, then the consequences would be unimaginable. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head with a sigh when he sensed the worry in Tai-Bai Jinxing's tone. This stubborn geezer said that he wouldn't bother with the Heavenly Court anymore, but isn't his heart still on the Heavenly Court? After all, he had served in the Heavenly Court for several 100,000 years, so he had feelings for him. Tai Bai Jinxing patted Yi Zichen's shoulders, then replied with squinted eyes, "The current situation seems to be in our favor. With Yang Jian and Nez's military power, and that monkey's descendants of Mount Huagua, we might be able to fight against the demons." "You really counted Nez's military power in? I can't go to the Heavenly Court, and you left the Heavenly Court. Are you stupid?" Tai Bai Jinxing rolled his eyes in annoyance. "Can't you just send the commander's seal over to Yang Jian when you need it?" "That's true." Yi Zichen scratched his head with a coy smile. "The most important thing right now is that we don't know how strong the demons are. If we really fight here, then that monkey might be the strongest. Others might not understand the strength of the demons, but I do. I refuse to believe that they don't have any Immortal King-level experts." Tai Bai Jinxing squinted his eyes. Tai Bai Jinxing narrowed his eyes tightly. He, who had experienced the great war between gods and demons, was too clear about the true strength of the demon race. Back then, even the lowest-level soldiers of the demons were at the complete stage of the human immortal level. Even the lowest-level abyssals could reach the human immortal level. The demons back then were terrifyingly strong. We do not have any high-level fighting power right now," Yi Zichen nodded in response. Putting everything else aside, Suiyun, whom he met, was at least at the complete stage of the human immortal level, or even at the early stage of the human immortal level. What's more, he had heard of a Lord Black Dragon in the demon realm. Chapter 443. Leave the hospital scar? Wei Chen. Wei Chen. Wei Chen seemed to be the only one with a scar amongst the people that went, but why did Tai Bai Jinxing specifically mention him? It seems like he wasn't very strong. "Brat, it seems like you don't know anything, right?" Tai Bai Jinxing smiled and raised his eyebrows. "That scar-faced man is the white tiger incarnation of one of the 4 sacred beasts." "Are you sure?" Yi Zichen looked at him in shock. "Wei Chen is the white tiger?" Although he did suspect Wei Chen's identity, he never thought that this guy would actually be the white tiger. "There's still a lot you don't know. Hurry up and call him over. I have something very important to discuss with him." "All right." Approximately half an hour later, Wei Chen, who was wearing a silver shirt, arrived at the apartment. The moment he entered, he nodded towards Yi Zichen. "Boss Yi, what did you find me for?" The moment he entered, he nodded towards Yi Zichen. "Boss Yi, why did you find me in such a hurry?" "I'm currently repairing the broken spatial barrier with those little fellows." A hint of tiredness appeared in Wei Chen's eyes. He had been fighting on the front lines against the demons for a long time, and would immediately rush to the scene with his men. Not only him, even the other members of the organization were extremely tired. "You've worked hard. I'll go and lead a team to repair it later. Rest here for a while. Tai Bai also has some things he wants to discuss with you." He raised his hand and patted Wei Chen's shoulder. He subconsciously glanced at Tai Bai Yunfei, and his pupils shrank as he shook his head. His pupils contracted as he shook his head. "Boss Yi, that sort of place is too dangerous." "Don't talk about danger. I won't be in any danger with Xian Yuan here." Yi Zichen pressed Tai Bai Jinxing onto the sofa, then grabbed his jacket from the sofa and put it on. "You guys chat, I'm going to the scene." Yi Zichen immediately left the room. At that moment, a sharp light flashed across Wei Chen's eyes as he looked towards Tai Bai Jinxing. "Tai Bai Jinxing? White Tiger." Tai Bai Jinxing also looked towards Wei Chen with a smile. Hearing that, Wei Chen shrugged helplessly. "All right. Since you already know his identity, then say it. What business do you have with this sovereign?" Wei Chen took out a cigarette from his pocket and chucked it into his mouth, then continuously massaged his temples, while occasionally puffing out smoke. To make a long story short, this old man just wants to ask, "I wonder if your Excellency's true body can descend into the modern realm?" Cough cough. Wei Chen, who was smoking, suddenly coughed violently. After a while, he stopped coughing and stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray, shaking his head. "No. Why?" Tai Bai Jinxing's face stiffened. He thought that since the White Tiger's incarnation was here to defend against the enemy, it had the intention to help eliminate the devil. Alright, then this sovereign will tell you the truth, but you can't tell Yizichin, understand? Sure. Not long later, the corner of Wei Chen's mouth twitched twice. In an instant, Tai Bai's eyes widened as he exclaimed. Impossible! After a few days of recuperation, Su Yan's body had completely recovered. In fact, according to common sense, it was impossible for her to recover so quickly. When the doctor in the hospital saw the examination report, he was also stunned. All the indicators were normal, and all the wounds on his body had healed. Not even a single scar was left. This could no longer be explained with common medical logic. When Su Yan was discharged from the hospital, all of her friends and roommates came, except for Sun Yaij. It seems like I haven't seen Sun Yaij for a long time. Yizichin raised his eyebrows. Yizichin raised his eyebrows. Xia Kiki nodded. Yeah, I haven't seen Sun Yaij since our school was reorganized. Due to the continuous murders and the disappearances of students in Polytechnic University, the school had already been reorganized. At that moment, Yizichin and the other students of Polytechnic University were on a long holiday. She might have gone on vacation, Lu Qianshan said. Lu Qianshan said, I went to her shop a while ago, but it was also closed. That's possible, Xia Kiki muttered on the side. But this bad guy, she actually didn't bring us along when she went on vacation. She didn't reply even when we called her in the group. Hey, didn't you guys come to pick me up from the hospital? Why do I feel like I'm not the main character? Su Yan smiled on the side. At that moment, her body had completely recovered, and she was no different from a normal person. What caused Yizichin to feel that she seemed to have become even more charming after her illness? Why are you looking at me like that? A faint blush surfaced on Su Yan's face when she noticed Yizichin's gaze. I think you're pretty, Yizichin replied straightforwardly. Just as they were chatting, the Su family people arrived. The person in front was naturally the serious Su Qihu, while Su Qilong and Old Man Su both arrived behind him. When Su Yan saw Su Qihu, she couldn't help but think of her older brother, Su Yun. That scene, that cold gaze, and those heart-wrenching words. Su Yan bit her lips. At that moment, Old Man Su also walked over. He nodded towards Yizichin and company, then grabbed Su Yan's hand with a kind smile. I've caused my baby granddaughter to suffer. My precious granddaughter has suffered. Let's go home with Grandpa. I want to go with them. Su Yan pointed at the people beside her. Old Man Su's kind smile instantly changed as he shook his head. No, go back with us. Old Man Su would never have such an expression towards Su Yan in the past, especially when Yizichin was present. He would always push her to Yizichin's side. However, this time, the old man refused without any room for negotiation, causing Su Yan to be rather shocked. Grandpa! Be good and go back with Grandpa. Do you want Grandpa to get angry? Old Man Su's kind face turned solemn. Su Yan bit her lips, as if she still didn't want to go with them. Su Yan, go back with Elder Su. You just got out of the hospital, so you need to rest at home, Yizichin said with a smile. Lil, ye already said that, let's go. Yizichin grabbed Su Yan's arm and pulled her away, while Su Qihu and Su Qilong also left the room side by side. Only when their figures disappeared did Xia Kiki blink and mutter. So strange. It is very strange. Yizichin had never seen Old Man Su like this before. However, since he did this, then he definitely had his own reasons. Yizichin patted Xia Kiki's head, then looked at the two girls with a smile. What are you guys preparing to do? I'm going to intern at the hospital, Lu Qianshan shrugged in frustration. Lu Qianshan shrugged dejectedly and said, Grandpa just sent me a message and told me not to run around. Then just stay in the hospital properly. You need to learn this technique from Elder Zhen. TSK, none of your business. Lu Qianshan stomped her feet angrily, then turned around to leave. Yizichin watched her leave with a smile, then looked toward Xia Kiki. Chapter 444. Who won? Beat. Who won? Not long after Yi Zichen and Xia Kiki left the hospital, a car horn sounded out behind them. Yi Zichen subconsciously turned around and saw Lin Ru wave towards them. What? Yi Zichen got into her car. I haven't seen this girl for a long time. Her sudden appearance definitely wasn't as simple as a chance encounter. Don't give me that dirty look. Do you think I wanted to come and find you? You bring a girl with you every day, seriously. Do you want to give the public dog food? Lin Ru rolled her eyes, then said, My grandpa is looking for you. As for the reason, don't ask me. I don't know, I'm just a driver. Old man Lin? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and felt a bit confused. What could this geezer be looking for me for? I've already healed his injuries. The two of us don't have much to talk about, especially when he's looking for me a few months later. Weird. It was impossible to find out anything from Lin Ru. This woman acted like she was on her period. She had a cold expression the entire time, as if someone owed her money. None of the three people in the car said anything. They simply sat there and headed towards the Lin family's courtyard. At that moment, it was already winter. The temperature in Bingqing was not as high as the south, but it was already terrifyingly cold. The attendants and security personnel in the courtyard were all wearing cotton jackets, but old man Lin was only wearing a shirt as he sat in the courtyard playing Go with Lin Hanben. Grandpa, he's here, Lin Ru called out from not far away. Old man Lin, who was sitting in front of the Go table, nodded with a smile. Got it, go in. That dumb brat has been waiting for you in the living room for a long time. Only then did Lin Ru's face blossom with a bright smile. She ran back to the living room with a giggle, while Yi Zichen also brought Xia Kiki over to old man Lin's side. Hanben, don't waste time with this old man here. Let's go. Okay. Lin Hanben stood up from the table, nodded towards Yi Zichen with a smile, then turned around to leave. Sit. Old man Lin pointed at the seat that Lin Hanben had just sat on. When Yi Zichen sat down, the first thing old man Lin said was, Who do you think has a better chance of winning this game? Yi Zichen was stumped by the question. He might be able to understand if it was Chinese chess, but Go it was too high-end. White. After randomly making a guess, old man Lin lightly nodded his head, then raised his eyebrows and said, Okay, I got it. You can go now. What the hell? Was there something wrong with this old man? Lin Ru had gone through so much trouble to get him here, and they had even been stuck in a traffic jam for 2 hours. They hadn't even exchanged a few words, and he just asked who would win and it was over? Disregarding everything else, Yi Zichen expressed that he was not someone that the geezer could order around. Grandpa, are you kidding me? I didn't. Old man Lin smiled faintly and pressed the black chess piece in his hand onto a certain spot on the chessboard. You can't go there. You lose. Xia Kiki raised her eyebrows on the side. Old man Lin smiled faintly. Of course this old man knows, but Lil Yi said that the white piece will win, so let the white piece win. What kind of weird words are these? Yi Zichen felt like he didn't really understand. He said that whatever piece he allowed to win would win. Then if he said that the black piece would win, then the black piece would win? But what did it matter? Grandpa, what exactly did you call me over for? Yi Zichen looked at him in confusion. Old man Lin shook his head with a smile, then messed up the chessboard and put away the chess pieces one by one. I just called you over to watch a game of Go. Hanben and I had already played many games before you came. I didn't think that you would actually be here for this one. Old man Lin shook his head with a wry smile. Old man Lin shook his head and smiled bitterly. After a while, he stood up from his chair and stretched lazily. All right, go back. I already know your choice. What do you mean by my choice? This game of Go. Grandpa, explain it to me clearly. Yi Zichen became more and more confused. I don't understand what he's saying at all. Hee, alright, let's go back. Old man Lin walked towards the mansion with a smile. Yi Zichen frowned and wanted to stop him, but at that very moment, two black-masked men appeared in front of him. "Sir, you can't walk any further. Go to the side." Yizichin raised his hands to push the two men away. However, when he touched them, he noticed experts. How could the Lin family have this sort of expert? A complete stage human immortal was at least of this level. "I'll give you a suggestion. Donate all of the income from your medical company. That might help you in the future." Old Man Lin suddenly stopped and smiled. Old Man Lin suddenly stopped and chuckled. "Oh right, it's been so long. I wonder if you're ready to hear the reason for my injuries?" "Say it." After experiencing so much, Yizichin no longer cared about the reason for Old Man Lin's injuries. At most, it would be a fight between the hidden clans. Now that he had fought with the devil race, that level of problem had no effect on him. But since this geezer wants to say it, then it's fine. "Demon." Old Man Lin laughed softly. Yizichin's expression froze when he heard the reply. When he returned to his senses and wanted to ask for more details, the geezer had already returned to the mansion. "Sir, please leave." The two masked men made a please gesture, while Yizichin stared at the geezer's back. "Let's go." Yizichin pulled Xia Kiki and left without any hesitation. Old Man Lin stood silently at the door, while Lin Ru also walked over. "Grandpa, how did he choose?" "White one." Old Man Lin shook his head with a smile. Lin Ru's expression instantly changed. "Doesn't that mean? I feel like he chose very well. At least there's a chance for him to turn the situation around. However, the brat is the one who's going to be troubled." Old Man Lin sighed, then patted Lin Ru's head. Old Man Lin sighed softly and patted Lin Ru's little head. "Alright, don't worry so much. Your talent has just awakened. It's not good for you to worry so much. Just let nature take its course." "Yizichin, what did that geezer say just now? Why didn't I understand?" Black clearly had a higher chance of winning just now. Xia Kiki, who was sitting in the car, pouted. Yizichin shook his head with a frown. "How would I know? How would I know? I don't know anything about Go. That old man always said some strange things. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling." Actually, Yizichin still had a lot of questions. For example, what the geezer said, demons. Was his injury caused by the demon race? Also, why did he specifically find me to ask about the winner of the game? What sort of effect would that have? Why did those two human immortal level experts appear in the Lin family? Isn't the Lin family a family of corporations? Chapter 445. Last 7 days tiredly pushing open the door of the apartment, Tai-Bai Jinxing did not stay at home. Recently, she didn't know what kind of agreement he and Wei Chen had reached, but the two of them were always together like they were wearing the same pair of pants. Sitting on the sofa, he let out a long sigh of relief. Everything that happened just now was too much for him to handle. No matter how hard he thought about it, he couldn't figure out what winning that game of chess represented. What's with that old man? He still didn't tell Yizichin the reason. "Isn't he just torturing me?" "Brat," the old dragon god's voice sounded out in Yizichin's sea of consciousness. "Go to the old dragon god's place and cultivate first. I'll be there soon." Not long later, he said a few more words to the old dragon god. Approximately half a minute later, Xia Kiki leaned against Yizichin's shoulder with a lifeless look in her eyes. From the looks of it, she had already entered. Yizichin scratched his head, then took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit one for himself. Then, he took out his phone and opened the red packet server. The Heavenly Court's chat group was already dead. Without any active members, it was like a pool of stagnant water. For a few days, there were not many people talking inside. Even if someone talked, they would only ask when their salary would be paid. On the other hand, the Red Envelope server 999 plus. God of Thunder. Fairy Chong-E is coming for the Sky Sovereign, right? Mother of Lightning. Little bitch. Immortality Peach Fairy. Fairy Chong-E definitely came here to find my brother, okay? Do you even need to ask? Canopy Marshal. When did the Sky Sovereign become your brother? Immortality Peach Fairy. Don't doubt Sky Venerable Nameless. Brother, they don't believe that you're my brother. Third Prince Neza. I can testify. The group chat was filled with all sorts of topics. When he saw Immortality Peach Fairy mention him, he popped up in the group. Cough cough, the Immortality Peach Fairy will be my sworn sister from now on. Great deities, please take care of her. God of Thunder. Oh, Saturn Peaches are not bad. Mother of Lightning. Immortality Peach Little Bitch. God of Fortune. Immortality Peach Mimi. Add me as a friend. I'll send you a big red packet. Immortality Peach Fairy. No, Sundra Face. Third Prince Neza. Immortality Peach Fairy, let's go play football. Yizichin was speechless when he saw the message from the Mother of Lightning. Yang Jian really doesn't know how to teach people anything good. Little bitch actually became a compliment in the heavenly court. He sighed helplessly. Only then did he remember that the person in front of him said that Chang Yi had entered the group. Yang Jian seemed to have told him that this girl was going to descend to the mortal world, but he didn't see her come down even after so long. Ding dong. Someone sent him a private message. After exiting the red packet group, Chang Yi's beautiful profile picture had a bright red 1 on it. You're not angry, right? Where did this come from? Yizichin paused for a moment, then replied. Why should I be angry? What happened? I'm not saying that I'm going to the lower realm to look for you, but a lot of things have happened in the heavenly court recently. The Jade Emperor even ordered us not to move around casually. There have been people checking up on us recently, so Chang Yi bit her lips as her delicate face scrunched up. No wonder. Yizichin nodded in understanding, but for some reason, he actually felt a bit lucky. Fortunately, Chang Yi didn't come down. If she did, he would be exhausted to death. Worrying about the matters of the devil race every day was enough to make people tired. No worries, then don't come down for now. I might return to the 3 realms after a while, so it'll be the same for us to meet then. That's great. This time, Chang Yi directly replied in Yizichin's mind. Yizichin couldn't help but smile when he felt her excitement. She's so happy right now. I wonder if she can still smile when she sees me in person. Oh yeah, actually, I entered the group this time because I have something to tell you. Chang Yi spoke in Yizichin's sea of consciousness once again. Oh? What is it? Bunny and I don't have much to do in the Moon Palace, so we researched how you made those snacks of yours. We succeeded not too long ago. What succeeded? The snacks that you sold to the heavenly court. The 2 of us can pretty much make the same ones, but I feel like the seasoning and craftsmanship are a bit lacking. Chang Yi replied happily. Also, the present that Yang Jian and company gave during the Queen Mother's birthday banquet was actually given by you, right? Bunny and I made it as well, but it's a bit slower. Ding dong. System mission issued. Build a factory in the heavenly court, includes factories for food, daily necessities, cosmetics, clothing, etc. Mission duration, 7 days. Mission reward, reputation x 10,000. System side mission issued. Donate everything in the medical company. Mission duration, 7 days. Mission reward, reputation. Just as Yizichin was thinking about how good Chang Yi and Jade Rabbit were at researching, the system gave him a mission to build a factory in the heavenly court. Was there a connection between the 2? Also, Old Man Lin just told him about the donation, so the system gave him a mission to donate. Of course, although it was a side mission, it was still a bit strange. According to the system, any mission given was to pave the way for him. There was no need to say much about the factory. Even if the system didn't give him a mission, he still wanted to build a factory in the heavenly court. Otherwise, it would be too troublesome if he kept on stocking up and sending red packets to Yulao. What's more, there were already plenty of people in the heavenly court who gave up on buying those snacks due to the lack of materials. Although he had Tai Bai Jinxing's cultivation experience, people never disliked having more money, and Yi Zichen did not dislike having more cultivation experience either. However, the time given was a bit tight. 7 days. Both missions had 7 days, so it was as if the system was telling him that everything would be too late after 7 days. Nameless. Chang Yi's soft call sounded out in Yi Zichen's sea of consciousness once again, causing him to return to his senses. I'm here, I was dealing with some stuff just now. Sorry. Is that so? Then if you're busy, then I won't disturb you. Just call out my name when you're free, Chang Yi replied softly. Chang Yi replied softly. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then their conversation came to an end. Yi Zichen lifted his phone and looked at the mission on it once again. Ding dong. System notification. Brat, stop blanking out. Hurry up. These 7 days are your last time, you have to make good use of it. I know, didn't you say it? The mission time is 7 days. It's not like I'm blind. System notification. I can't tell you in too much detail, but remember what I said. You only have 7 days. Only. Do you understand? Only 7 days. You have to deal with everything that you can within these 7 days. If I were you, I would start to contact people to buy equipment and learn from professionals. Your time is very tight, understand? Chapter 446. Extreme Speed Advancement Ding Dong. You have received reputation X 14,675 for being charitable. Ding dong. Side mission completed. Mission reward. Reputation X 1000. A system notification popped up on Yi Zichen's phone. Not long later, Xiao Yumei pushed open the office door and walked in with a hint of confusion. Apart from the liquid funds, all of the company's funds have already been transferred into the fund account. Why did you suddenly donate all of it? To accumulate merit for myself. Yi Zichen replied plainly, then glanced at his current reputation. At that moment, his reputation had already reached 15902. He didn't know what exactly these reputation points were used for. He only knew that the system and Tai Bai Jinxing both told him to hurry up and earn more reputation. Xiao Yumei rolled her eyes in annoyance at his reply, but she didn't say anything else. Since the man said he was going to donate, then he'll just donate it all. He definitely had his own reasons for doing so. Oh yeah, how's it going with the factory equipment and whatnot that I told you to contact a few days ago? The factory building has already been decided upon, and all of the equipment has been brought in. However, due to the lack of technicians, we haven't been able to get too many of them even if we asked headhunting companies to pay a high price. Xiao Yumei raised her eyebrows. These few days, Yi Zichen had been telling her to do some rather strange things. To be honest, she was rather curious. Why are you building a factory? Isn't the medical company doing pretty well right now? I can't explain it to you. How about this, take me to the factory first. Yi Zichen took out his phone and typed in Yu Lao's direction as Xiao Yumei drove to the factory. Come out. Yu Lao had been extremely busy recently. Sky Sovereign suddenly told him to buy land in the Heavenly Court, and a large area at that. His legs had been so tired from running around for the past few days. Just as he was about to sit down and eat some ice cream, the Celestial Venerable sent him another message. Sky Sovereign, the old man is here. What do you want to do now? Did you buy all the land in the Heavenly Court? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and replied. After the system repeatedly emphasized that he only had 7 days left, he started to get a bit anxious. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in such a hurry to get the others busy as well, although he still didn't understand the true meaning of these last 7 days, but there wasn't much time left. He had to hurry. I'm almost done. Yu Lao wiped the sweat off his forehead with his hand and said, You requested for a residential area far away from the residence of the Heavenly Court, and the surrounding greenery has to be in place. I've bought it all. Well done. Yi Zichen nodded, then licked his lips. Go to the land you bought right now. I'll send you a red packet later. The treasures in the red packets all take up a lot of space. Good. Yu Lao replied helplessly. He put his phone back into his pocket and licked the ice cream in his hand. At the same time, he summoned a cloud fly. After settling Yu Lao down, Yi Zichen turned back to look at Xiao Yumei. How much longer until we get there? Don't worry, the factory will naturally be in the suburbs. We haven't even left the city center yet, Xiao Yumei replied helplessly. These few days, her little man was really anxious. Is that so? Yi Zichen muttered, then clicked open the system notification on his phone. At this time, there were only 17 hours left to complete the mission. Who knew what would happen in these 17 hours? Why did the system keep emphasizing the last 7 days? Could it be that he would be erased if he couldn't complete it? That shouldn't be the case. If he was really killed, the system should have directly issued a failure penalty when it issued the mission. But there was no such mission at all. Yi Zichen rubbed his tired temples, then leaned against the back of the car and looked ahead with a frown. After 3 whole hours, Yi Zichen and company finally arrived at the factory that Xiao Yumei mentioned. In front of them was a huge industrial park. As soon as they got out of the car, someone came to greet them. Director Xiao, Director Yi. Yes. This is the address I chose for you. What do you think? That's right. Yi Zichen replied plainly. Are there any other employees here? Yes, Boss Yi. The man who greeted them nodded. Including the employees and technicians, there are around 3,000 people here. Tell them to leave as fast as possible. You may tell the company's finance department to give them half a year's salary. Zichen, what's wrong now? Not only was the man shocked, even Xiao Yumei was completely shocked. These were all people that Yi Zichen found with great difficulty. It was fine if it was just the normal employees, but the technicians were all poached with high salaries. Didn't he want to open a factory? Why, listen to me, tell them to leave immediately. Leave this place immediately. All right, I'll listen to you, Xiao Yumei sighed. Xiao Yumei sighed, then said to the man, General Manager Liu, I'm sorry. Let's end our cooperation here. Please tell all the employees here to leave. I'm truly sorry. No worries, let's continue working together next time. The man did not say anything else. He merely walked to the broadcasting room and shouted a few words. Not long after, a large number of people walked out of the factory at the same time. After sending the employees away, Xiao Yumei raised her eyebrows in confusion. What do you want to do now? There shouldn't be anyone around. Yi Zichen activated his fiery eyes of truth and looked around. Xiao Yumei also subconsciously looked around, then shook her head. There doesn't seem to be anyone. That would be best. Yi Zichen nodded, then took out his phone. No matter what you see later, don't be too surprised. Okay. Scan. It was just as Yi Zichen had expected. The industrial park could be directly scanned into an item and sent through a red packet. Ding dong. The system has detected that the red packet you have sent this time is too large. An additional 200,000 cultivation experience will be charged. Damn it. The system was clearly the one who told me to set up a factory in the Heavenly Court, but now I'm being charged a processing fee for sending red packets. Confirm. Whoosh. The industrial park, which would take more than 10 minutes to reach by car, suddenly disappeared in front of her. When she saw this scene, she was so shocked that she couldn't speak. Was that what Yi Zichen was referring to? How could they not be shocked? That was an industrial park. It was gone just like that. More importantly, where did he change the industrial park to? Even though she had been by Yi Zichen's side for a long time, and thought that her mental endurance was strong enough, she was still shocked beyond belief. However, Yi Zichen was not in the mood to care about that. At that moment, he had already started to message Yu Lao in a frenzy. Chapter 447. Heavenly Court Industrial Park. Established. Yu Lao had been waiting there for a long time. He had eaten countless ice creams. When he saw that the Celestial Venerable had sent him a red envelope, he opened it without thinking. The industrial area that Yi Zichen had scanned instantly appeared above Yu Lao's head. The old man was stunned for a moment when he saw the guy that covered the sky, then quickly retreated to a safe position. Bang! The empty space where the industrial park was located to the heavenly courts emitted a loud rumble. Only when the dust dissipated did Yu Lao blink at the huge object in front of him. The Empyrean's treasures are getting more and more advanced. He gulped. After a while, Yu Lao replied on his phone. Sky Sovereign, I've received the red packet. Of course, Yi Zichen knew that Yu Lao had already received the red packet, because the system had already notified him that he had completed the mission. Ding dong. Quest complete. Reputation gained, 10,000. Another 10,000 reputation points came in. Now, his reputation points had reached 25902. System notification. You have received Crafting Guide X1. It has been stored inside your treasure chest. System notification. Did you see the production guide I gave you? Send it to Yu Lao. As for the rest, you should understand. A friendly reminder. If Chong, E and Jade Rabbit were to participate, they would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. Yi Zichen was starting to suspect that the person who sent the system notification could read his chat history with other people. If that's the case, then doesn't that mean that I'm completely out of the world? Yi Zichen nodded, then flipped open the treasure chest. As expected, there was an excellent crafting guidebook inside. Send. Yu Lao has received your red packet. Sky Sovereign, what is this? Yu Lao held the production guide and kept flipping through it. When he flipped to the food processing page at the beginning, he immediately replied, Is this how those treasures are made? Yes, in the future, all goods will be produced and sold by the Heavenly Court. In terms of production, you can invite Fairy Chong, E and Jade Rabbit to participate as technical consultants. As for employees, I believe you should be able to find them, right? This is possible. If the Heavenly Court really doesn't have enough people, I'll just go down to the lower realms to find some. Okay, then I'll leave this industrial park to you. After a few simple replies, Yi Zichen put his phone back into his pocket. At this moment, Xiao Yumei's eyes were wide open. She covered her mouth with her hand as she watched the industrial park disappear. It was really gone. All right, stop looking. Yi Zichen wrapped his arm around her waist and smiled. It won't come out again if you keep looking. Then where did you put it? Xiao Yumei asked in a daze. The Heavenly Court. Yi Zichen shrugged indifferently. Isn't this industrial park ours? They can't say anything even if it disappears, right? It seems like you're wrong. Xiao Yumei blinked in a daze, then bit her lips and said, We're the ones who rented this place. In the car, Xiao Yumei was already prepared to contact the owner of the industrial park to buy it. At the same time, she would completely seal off the area to prevent any news from leaking. However, it was impossible for such a large industrial park to disappear without a trace. The only thing they could do now was to control the public opinion as much as possible. Back at the apartment, Tai Bai and Wei Chen were sitting on the sofa smoking. Yi Zichen didn't know how much the two of them smoked, but the moment he opened the door, he felt a wave of thick smoke rush towards him. Boss Yi. Wei Chen stood up from the sofa and nodded towards Yi Zichen. Even though he found out from Tai Bai that Yi Zichen was the White Tiger's incarnation, he still didn't treat Yi Zichen too specially. The main reason was that they were too familiar with each other, and were already used to the way they interacted. The two of you are amazing, you're inseparable every day. I haven't seen Old Wei's wife in such a long time, how about you two get married? Yi Zichen teased. Wei Chen instantly smiled dryly and told Yi Zichen to stop joking. Meanwhile, Tai Bai continued to smoke with a sullen expression. Fine, Lord Tai Bai is in a bad mood, so I shouldn't stay here to annoy him. Yi Zichen shrugged and returned to the bedroom. The moment he entered, Xianyuan Xiang came out and wandered around the room leisurely. What's going on with that little guy, Ten Yuan, recently? He's been playing with building blocks in your mansion. You're asking me, but who am I supposed to ask? Recently, no matter when Yi Zichen went out, Ten Yuan would be playing with building blocks at home. In the past, Ten Yuan was the one who stuck to him the most, wishing that he could walk out of that room. Even if he wanted to, he would hide in the space between his eyebrows and follow him. This little guy is a little strange. I'll have to ask him when I get back. Xian Yuan Xiang stretched lazily, while Yi Zichen nodded. All right, let's go. You can ask, but it's natural for children to like to play. Don't be too harsh with your words. Hey, I've lived for so long, do I still need you to tell me that? Xian Yuan Xiang blinked, then twitched her mouth and snorted. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes speechlessly, then sat cross-legged on the ground and called out to the dragon god in his mind. I need to make use of every second to increase my strength. Little fellow, pull me in. Whoosh. The scene changed. When Yi Zichen once again appeared in the dragon god's subdimension, he noticed that Xia Kiki was also there. How did she get in? The old dragon god pointed suspiciously at Xia Kiki, who was sitting on the ground. This junior is quite talented. I gave her a supplementary talisman so that she can come in when she needs it. I'm already dead, so being able to nurture a junior here means that I've done my part for the dragon race. Yi Zichen could feel the old dragon god's deep concern for the dragon race from his words. Yi Zichen nodded, then sucked towards the dragon race's secret scripture in the air: dragon soul, dragon bone, dragon god. Each level could be comprehended 9 times. Currently, he was at the stage where he had comprehended dragon soul twice. As long as he could comprehend it once more, or make a slight improvement on the dragon bone, then he would be able to reach the level of a human immortal. Yi Zichen held his breath and flipped through the pages. The moment he saw the words on the top of the secret scripture, Yi Zichen became immersed in it. 10 odd hours passed in the blink of an eye. During that time, Yi Zichen's aura steadily increased, and showed signs of breaking through. Oh, Yi Zichen came. At that moment, Xia Kiki had already woken up from her cultivation. When she saw Yi Zichen, she noticed that the spiritual energy on his body had become more and more berserk. He's about to break through, the old dragon god said plainly. He was already rather numb to Yi Zichen's breakthroughs. However, what no one expected was, what is this brat doing? Yi Zichen, who was about to break through, actually dispersed all of the spiritual energy he had gathered. Yi Zichen coughed up a mouthful of blood. Under the confused gazes of the old dragon god and Xia Kiki, Yi Zichen pressed his hands against the ground and choked with sobs. Chapter 448. The Apocalypse. The old dragon god was about to be angered to death by Yi Zichen. Just as he was about to break through, he dispersed his spiritual energy and chose to maintain his level, causing him to be heavily injured by the reversal of spiritual energy. This was the best place to recuperate, yet he actually wanted to leave. Brat, what exactly are you thinking? Let me out, Yi Zichen roared with bloodshot eyes. Hurry, let me out, it'll be too late. The old dragon god frowned. No one had dared to speak to him like that in so many years. However, Xia Kiki noticed Yi Zichen's bloodshot eyes, so she walked in front of the old dragon god and grabbed his sleeve. Old grandpa, don't get angry. Yi Zichen might have something urgent to do if he wants to go out. Just let him out. Heh. The old dragon god snorted indifferently, then waved his sleeve and pushed the two out of the subdimension. Yi Zichen, who was sitting in the room, suddenly opened his eyes. At that moment, his bed was also stained with golden blood. He ignored his injuries and turned around to look at Xian Yuan Xiang, only to see her looking at him worriedly. Did she feel it as well? How is it? What do you mean how? Xian Yuan Xiang looked at him in confusion, then asked worriedly. I saw you suddenly cough up blood just now. Did that geezer inside bully you? Xian Yuan Xiang rolled up her sleeves and snorted. Take older sister in. See if older sister doesn't rip off that geezer's beard. What? Yi Zichen frowned, then rushed out of the room as fast as he could. Wei Chen and Tai Bai Jinxing had already disappeared from the living room. Yi Zichen put on his shoes and ran downstairs. This, Xianyuan Xiang, who was following behind Yi Zichen, suddenly stopped when she saw that. She covered her mouth with her hand, while her eyebrows were filled with shock. The streets were filled with slime monsters that should have appeared in the other world. Several hundred huge abyssals wielding clubs continuously destroyed everything in the modern realm with their weapons. It was as if the apocalypse had arrived. Yi Zichen suddenly turned around, spread open his wings, and hurried back to the mansion. F***ck off. Yi Rong unfurled her white wings and kept releasing holy light to protect her back. Xiao Yumei hugged Tian tightly and covered her eyes with her hands. She silently said, "Don't be afraid." With the help of old Lord Taishang's pills, the four Ho brothers, who had already advanced to the false earth immortal stage, kept wiping out the demonic creatures in the surroundings. Only then did Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. It was great that they were still here. "Zichen, you don't need to worry about this. This time, the devil race should have launched a large-scale attack. You should quickly take your people to stop them." Yi Zichen bit his lips and walked in front of Xiao Yumei. At this moment, Xiao Yumei's body was trembling uncontrollably. She bit her lips and used her hands to protect Tian. She was terrified. Yi Zichen pulled her into his arms, lifted her chin, and looked at her with a warm smile. "Zichen! Don't be afraid, I will solve all of this. Trust me, wait for my return." "Yes, I believe you. You must be careful." Tears welled up in Xiao Yumei's eyes as she nodded heavily. Yi Zichen clenched his teeth and turned around. "Xianyuan." Virum. A dazzling golden light was released from the blade, causing the low-leveled abyssals and the huge abyssals to be attracted by it. "Demons, don't you want to capture me? Laozi is the reincarnation of the Yellow Emperor. Come." Even though Yi Rong told him to ignore them, he still had to lead the demonic beings away. That was the only way to minimize the possibility of them getting into danger. "Come, Laozi is the Yellow Emperor. Don't you want to capture Laozi? Come." Yi Zichen flapped his wings, then quickly flew in the opposite direction of the mansion with Xianyuan's sword in hand. It was clear that Yi Zichen's plan worked. The moment he said that he was the Yellow Emperor, and the dazzling Xianyuan sword in his hand. Roar! The huge abyssals roared, causing the low-leveled abyssals to instantly turn around and chase after Yi Zichen. "System, this is what you told me that I don't have time, right? You actually F***king know everything, right?" Yi Zichen clenched his teeth so hard that they nearly shattered them. This time, the demons had already sent out all of their abyssals. Yi Zichen looked around and saw that the entire city should have been taken over by the abyssals. More importantly, there were actual demons among the abyssals. Creak. Damn system. Yi Zichen cursed silently in his heart. The time was exactly the same as the time of the mission, 7 days. It was clear that the system had already predicted that this would happen, but it actually didn't mention anything about it. What it wanted me to do was simply to prepare a path of retreat for myself. Does it really think that I can run away by myself in this sort of situation? Yi Zichen smiled coldly as he gripped Xianyuan's sword's hilt tightly. "Xiangjie, please!" Yi Zichen chucked Xianyuan's sword high up into the air. All of a sudden, the Xianyuan sword in the air split into tens of thousands of sword images. Blaze buff. Sharp blade buff. Xianyuan Xiang, who was within Xianyuan's sword, continuously formed hand seals. Not long later, the sword images gradually turned fiery red. "Little girl, come and play with Big Brother?" A demon youth teased as he grabbed a girl's chin. The girl struggled with all her might and cursed angrily. F***ck off. "Hee hee, do you want to die? Can't you see? If you don't want to die, then stay with Big Brother. Big Brother can guarantee that you won't die." His crimson tongue continuously slid across the girl's face and neck. This time, the girl did not refuse at all. At that moment, her dignity was nothing compared to her life. "Fall!" At that moment, a stern shout sounded out in the sky. A flaming sword suddenly appeared above the head of the young devil, who was enjoying teasing that woman. Boom! An explosion of flames. As expected, the girl beside him was dragged into it as well. However, the moment before she died, she smiled with tears in her eyes. At least, I'm still clean, right? F***ck. Yi Zichen, who was in the sky, coincidentally saw this. He clenched his fist tightly and frowned towards Xianyuan Xiang. Is it possible to not harm the normal people of the modern realm? Stop dreaming, brat. Xianyuan Xiang retorted mercilessly. Look at the current situation. The demons have already mixed in with the people of the modern realm. Even if I target the demons, the aftermath is still not something that normal people can endure. This isn't the time for you to be merciful. Abandon the normal people of this city. Otherwise, if the demons invade other cities, the consequences will be even more severe. Yi Zichen's arms trembled. After a long while, he let out a long sigh and looked up. Chapter 449. The Army of the Three Realms. A seductive moan sounded out from within the sea of purple mist. A naked woman was on the ground, while a bronze-skinned man lay on top of her. She continuously cooperated with the man's movements, and tried her best to satisfy all of the man's needs. Just so that I can survive. A flaming sword descended from the sky and pierced the man's body. Just when the woman on the ground thought that she had been saved. Boom. The flaming sword exploded. I don't want to die. The woman screamed, but she was swallowed by the flames, leaving behind only ashes that were blown away by the wind. At that moment, Yi Zichen's heart was already numb. He didn't know how many normal people had died from the aftermath. It was also at that moment that he saw the ugliest side of humanity in the short half an hour. Hurry up and run. A man and a woman held hands as they ran forward on the street, while crawling monsters that spat slime followed behind them. Horror! Just as they were about to make a turn, they noticed that the street they were running towards was also filled with low-level abyssals. There was already nowhere else to go. Hubby, wife, do you love me? The man suddenly looked towards the woman beside him with a solemn expression. The woman was momentarily stunned, then nodded. Yes, hee. Then go and die for me. The man's expression instantly turned menacing. He pushed the woman into the crowd of abyssals, while he ran into the nearby bushes. I want to live, as expected. The woman who was pushed into the crowd of abyssals was bitten to death. As for the man who abandoned his wife, he continued to run forward. I hate men like you the most in my life. Just as the man thought that he was lucky to have escaped, a slightly tanned woman with an extremely alluring figure suddenly appeared in front of him. The woman's pupils were gray, she wore a light red robe, and her hair was light pink. F***ck off. There were no abyssals on the street. The man, who had just escaped death, frowned in annoyance. He raised his hand and pushed the woman, crack. His arm was forcefully broken by the woman. Then, the woman lifted him by the collar and flew into the air. Finally, she landed on the spot where the man's wife had died. Let's go with her. He gently threw the man towards the group of abyssals, and the low-level abyssals that had been waiting for a long time rushed over the moment the man landed. As she listened to the man's endless screams, until he couldn't even scream anymore, the alluring woman looked up at Yi Zichen, who was using the Xianyuan sword to unleash area of effect attacks to hunt down demons. The Yellow Emperor? Looks like he's the most fun here. Due to the sheer number of demons, even with the Xianyuan sword support, Yi Zichen's effectiveness was minimal. Even now, he couldn't find Wei Chen's men. However, he believed that they were definitely fighting on the front lines. Holding the phone tightly in his hand, the control of Xianyuan's sword had been completely handed over to Xianyuan Xiang. At that moment, Yi Zichen was continuously contacting Yang Jian, the Great Sage, and Erling Shin, Monkey King, Third Prince Neza. Erling Shin, what's wrong, bro? Monkey King, what business do you have with me, old son? Third Prince Neza, I'm playing soccer, Sky Sovereign. God of Thunder, Sky Sovereign actually at the three of them. Why do I have a bad feeling? Mother of Lightning, ditto. God of Fortune, ditto. All of a sudden, the atmosphere in the group became tense. Due to the lack of time, Yi Zichen directly sent a voice message in the group. The demons are attacking the modern realm, requesting reinforcements. The moment the message was sent, Yi Zichen's words echoed throughout the entire heavenly court. All of the deities in the heavenly court looked up into the sky. The Jade Emperor, the Queen Mother, the three Pure Ones and the others who weren't in the group also looked up. The laws of the heavens. Just who is it that actually spied on the laws of the heavens? All of a sudden, the Jade Emperor and company all began to calculate. However, Yang Jian and company clearly knew that it was Yi Zichen who sent it. Erlingshen, wait a moment, I'll immediately go get the troops. Monkey King. Canopy Marshal, dummy, old son is waiting for you at Mount Huagua. Canopy Marshal. Understood, I'll go get the rake. Third Prince Neza. Sky Sovereign, wait for me. Oh yeah, send me the commander's seal. Yi Zichen directly sent the commander's seal over. After receiving it, Neza immediately replied. Sky Sovereign, Big Brother Yang Jian and I will go over together. Only the few of them were left in the group. As for God of Thunder and company, they couldn't just say anything in that sort of situation. Howling Celestial Dog. Yang Jian, who had just returned to his manor, took out the commander's seal and called out. Not long later, a black pug with its tongue sticking out ran out. Stop being an idiot. Simon, let's go to the South Heaven's Gate. Whoosh. The howling celestial dog turned into a black-clothed young man and nodded. Yang Jian squinted his eyes, then held the commander's seal in his hand. All troops, gather at the South Heaven's Gate. When Yang Jian arrived at the South Heaven's Gate, Neza was already standing on the wind-fire wheels, holding the heaven and earth ring, and wearing the armillary sash, while 80,000 celestial soldiers and heavenly generals stood behind him. Not long later, Yang Jian's 100,000 celestial soldiers and heavenly generals also appeared at the South Heaven's Gate. Gulp. The guard at the South Heaven's Gate gulped. This situation. Are we going to fight? True Lord Erlang, Third Prince Neza, you guys, stop bullshitting. Move. Yang Jian raised his hand and chucked the guard to the side, then squinted his eyes towards the heavenly court's heavenly generals. Let's go. The great sage did not stay idle after returning to Mount Huagua. At that moment, his several 100,000 monkeys stood in several thousand square ranks on the empty ground outside Mount Huagua and stared ahead with sharp gazes. Hey, the three realms have been quiet for too long. I, old son, am taking you guys to fight. Hurry up, okay? Are we going to fight the heavenly court? One of the monkeys suddenly asked. The great sage rolled his eyes in annoyance. What's there to fight in the heavenly court? What's so good about the heavenly court? I, old son, am already sick of it. Stop bullshitting and follow me, old Sunday. Let's go. At the same time, Yi Zichen let out a sigh of relief when he saw that the others in the group had already set off. He put his phone back into his pocket, then licked his lip. Just as he was about to go hunt abyssals with Xianyuan Xiang, a playful laugh sounded out from behind him. You actually have the mood to play with your phone at a time like this? Turn around. It was only then that Yi Zichen noticed that a woman had silently appeared behind him at some point. Demon. Xianyuan Xiang's gaze tensed. When she noticed the situation, she quickly controlled Xianyuan's sword to fly over. Chapter 450. Hibiscus. The corners of the coquettish woman's lips curled up slightly. However, under that gorgeous face, there was a power that made one's heart palpitate. How did you guys come to the modern realm? Yi Zichen stared at her. The woman pursed her lips with a smile, then pointed towards the sky in the distance. Yi Zichen looked in the direction she was pointing, then noticed that there was a gigantic black hole there. Black figures continuously poured into the modern realm from the hole. Do you see that? The woman smiled, then combed her hair behind her ear with a smile. "Let me introduce myself. You can call me Hibiscus, the flower of the modern realm." Hibiscus? The demons actually know of Hibiscus. Of course, don't think that the demons are all boorish men who don't know how to flirt. At least, I feel like I'm rather interesting. Hibiscus pursed her lips with a smile. Hibiscus pursed her lips and chuckled, her fingers stroking her smooth cheek. "It's just a pity that this place is about to be taken over by those unromantic people. Don't underestimate that woman. I can feel that she's at least a late-stage human immortal." Xianyuan Xiang's voice sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind. Xianyuan Xiang's voice sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind. Yi Zichen nodded. He had also sensed the danger Hibiscus was in. "I don't know when the army of the three realms will arrive, but Bingqing in the modern realm is about to fall. I don't have time to waste with Hibiscus. You came here, naturally, to take you away. You are the Yellow Emperor, right?" Hibiscus interrupted before Yi Zichen could finish. "Lord Black Dragon promised us that if we take you away, we will be able to enjoy a place in the modern realm. Is that so?" Yi Zichen's expression also darkened. He grabbed Xianyuan's sword sheath. "It seems like I can only fight." Bang! 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 Yang Jian continuously swung his lance above a barrier. That was the teleportation point to the modern realm, but for some reason, he was unable to pass through. "Can you do it? If you can't, then I, old son, will do it." The monkey couldn't wait any longer. He smashed the Rui Jingu Bang onto the barrier. Dong! The huge reaction force sent the monkey flying 1,000 meters away, but the barrier did not show any signs of shattering. It should be the self-protection mechanism of the modern world. At this moment, a fatty with a gloomy expression appeared beside them. "I've already tried many ways to pass, but there's no way at all. The present world's self-protection mechanism has been activated. Even if a celestial king came here, he wouldn't be able to do anything. Then what should we do?" Yang Jian's palms were sweaty. His brother was waiting for him to lead his troops over on the other side. More importantly, he had wasted too much time here. The Jade Emperor might come over soon. Just as he was thinking about this, he saw the god of thunder and pagoda-bearing heavenly King Li leading an army. "Yang Jian, Neza, great sage, heaven's equal. Jade Emperor's decree, come back with us." "Humph!" The great sage snorted without thinking. He tossed the Jingu Bang into his mind and curled his lip. "If you want me to go back with you, let's see if you have the ability. Tell the Jade Emperor to think about the rod he suffered back then." "Why are you guys doing this?" The god of thunder shook his head with a wry smile. Both he and Old Li knew very well why they were sending their army. They were also in the Red Packet server, so they naturally knew about the situation in the modern realm. "Old Li and I can give you 6 hours. If you still can't go to the modern realm within that time, then come back with us. We'll put in a good word for you, and you might be able to get off lightly. If you can go in, then we'll say, 'We didn't catch up.' Good luck then." "Thank you." Yang Jian cupped his hands towards the god of thunder and pagoda-bearing heavenly King Li, then looked towards the barrier. "This barrier must be broken." Boom! A huge explosion sounded out in the sky. Golden blood continuously dripped down from Yi Zichen's body, but he continued to look forward coldly. At the very beginning, he was actually able to suppress Hibiscus. However, as time passed, the commotion on his side became louder and louder, causing quite a few demons to hurry over. At that moment, Yi Zichen was basically fighting against 100 demons by himself. His surroundings were already filled with demon corpses. Cough! Yi Zichen coughed up a mouthful of blood. After the battle, Yi Zichen's eyes were no longer as deep and clear as before. At that moment, his eyes were filled with a faint gray color, while his face was as pale as paper. At that moment, it felt like even a gust of wind could blow him over. However, even so, he still stood in front of the demons without retreating a single step. None of the demons dared to take a single step forward. I can't retreat. Mother Yi and Yume are right behind me. If I fall down here, then everything will be over. He had solemnly promised Xiao Yume that as long as he was here, everything would be resolved. The demons did not dare to advance. The corpses lying beside Yi Zichen were proof that they were already scared out of their wits. Ah! I'll hit him! Suddenly, a strange cry sounded out from the demon's side. The shadow of the cudgel kept flashing in front of them. This sudden attack immediately caused the devil race side to fall into panic. Oh my God, Boss Yi, save me! A young man holding a club ran out from the crowd. He held a lollipop in his mouth, while a few strands of hair stood up on his head. Behind him were the members of the demon clan who had been beaten black and blue by him. Anyone who takes another step forward, die. Xian Yuan's sword drew a golden line on the ground, causing the demons who were chasing the young man to stop in fear. They looked at each other, but none of them dared to take another step forward. Although there were plenty of Demon King level experts among them, the ones lying on the ground, there were plenty of Demon King level experts as well. You scared this baby to death. Go Yuzhan pushed up his glasses, rested his club on his shoulder, and licked his lollipop. Go Yuzhan, why did you come here? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows in confusion. I don't know. I just thought that we lost the siege when I saw a bunch of monsters outside. I was so scared that I didn't even have time to put on my pants. I just ran with my club and fought as I ran, Go Yuzhan replied with lingering fear. Only then did Yi Zichen notice that the brat was only wearing a pair of underwear. They were red and very eye-catching. Yellow Emperor, as expected of the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation, Hibiscus also smiled. At this moment, Hibiscus also smiled faintly. She narrowed her eyes and her pink hair suddenly turned fiery red. Her pupils also turned red. In the process of this transformation, her strength was also continuously rising. She actually hid her strength. Yi Zichen's face was already filled with unconcealable shock. At that moment, his spiritual energy was already on the verge of drying up, and he was already fighting while injured. Yet, this woman actually. All of a sudden, he felt like he had no hope. However, at that very moment, a black figure suddenly appeared in the crowd. Chapter 451. Fighting to the death. Nobody was able to see who the figure was, including Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen's fiery eyes of truth had been activated the entire time, but when he looked at the figure, he felt like there was a layer of silk covering the figure, which completely blocked his detection. It's actually you, Hibiscus smiled. Why are you helping the Yellow Emperor? That's none of your business, the figure spoke up once again. There's no need for you to lower yourself to deal with him with your status, right? Hibiscus squinted her eyes indifferently, then raised her eyebrows with a smile. But Black Dragon promised. How about I treat it as you returning my favor? The figure interrupted her mercilessly. Treat it as you returning my favor by not dealing with him this time. It seems like I got a huge advantage. Hibiscus pursed her lips and smiled. Hibiscus pursed her lips and chuckled. After dispersing all the devil energy in her body, she nodded noncommittally. Deal. With a leap, Hibiscus disappeared in front of Yi Zichen. Then, all of the demons beside her, including the Demon King level experts, fell to the ground without a sound and lost all signs of life. That's all I can help you with. Good luck. With that, the black figure disappeared from the mist, as if he had never appeared. Boss Yi, who was that? Go Yuzhan licked his lollipop and asked. Yi Zichen shook his head, then looked at the disappearing figure. I don't know either. Half an hour later, Yi Zichen and Go Yuzhan met up with Wei Chen's group. The uninjured members stood guard around the tea house, while the injured members were being treated inside. Wei Chen held a cigarette in his mouth, as he observed the situation outside with a pair of binoculars, while Tai Bai Jinxing gulped down a bottle of mineral water. How about giving up? After a long time, Wei Chen put down the binoculars and raised his eyebrows. There were truly too few people on their side, while there were too many abyssals. It wasn't a matter of whether or not they could clear them out. Instead, it was a matter of whether or not they could survive. Are you talking to me about giving up? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, then grabbed Wei Chen's collar. If you say something so irresponsible to me again, then I don't mind starting with you. We can consider what Old Wei said. What was unexpected was that Tai Bai Jinxing was also helping him. He glanced at the other members in the tea house and said, "This is the only combat power you have left. Do you want to use these dozens of people to fight against the millions, or even tens of millions of devil army outside? This is a war we have no chance of winning. Yang Jian and the others are already on their way. We just need to wait a little longer." How long has it been? It doesn't take much time for the three realms to reach the modern realm, but do you see their shadows? Tai Bai Jinxing squinted his eyes and smiled. I reckon that the modern world has already activated its self-defense function. The people from the three realms won't be able to come. Impossible. Yi Zichen shook his head, then took out his phone to send a message to Yang Jian and company. Sending failed. He didn't believe it and sent a message to the others. He even sent a message in the group. However, all the messages displayed were that the delivery had failed. Don't even think about contacting them. I've already tried. Yi Zichen clenched his fist tightly. Then what do you think we should do? In this situation, do we still have a place to retreat? With our combat power, we should be able to fight our way out if we fight with our lives on the line. Let's leave Bingqing to them. I can try to connect to the three realms, forget it. Yi Zichen shook his head and interrupted Tai Bai Jinxing. If you guys want to, then go. There are too many people I have to protect here, so I won't leave. He took out the last pill from his bosom and threw it into his mouth. Then, he picked up the Xianyuan sword in his hand and silently left the room. Yi Zichen walked indifferently in front of the seemingly endless army of abyssals and soldiers. When the abyssals saw him, they all rushed towards him. Die! Several beams of sword qi shot out from the Xianyuan sword in his hand. Even after clearing out a large group of abyssals, there were still more abyssals rushing over. He still did not care, fight to the death without retreating. Seriously. A moment after Yi Zichen left, Tai Bai Jinxing shook his head with a sigh. How much longer? About an hour. Wei Chen chucked the binoculars to the side and grabbed his silver jacket. What are you going to do? I can't let him face these abyssals by himself, right? The Yellow Emperor helped me back then, I can't let him die outside. Wei Chen smiled, then put on his jacket and left the tea house. All of you die. Yi Zichen continuously slashed the abyssals in his hand. None of the surrounding demons were able to escape, and all of them fell to the ground. Yi Zichen, behind you! Xianyuan Xiang suddenly called out. However, at that very moment, F***ck off. Wei Chen kicked the demon behind him away, then walked over with a cigarette in his mouth. Why did you come? Weren't you going to retreat? Yi Zichen asked plainly, then took the chance to pant heavily. He had already used up too much of his stamina, and was already in a state of exhaustion. Sweat continuously dripped from the tip of his nose onto the ground, as if it was free. Wei Chen smiled. Boss is here. Wouldn't it be a bit inhumane for me, the little brother, to run away? At least you have a bit of a conscience, Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled. Wei Chen nodded. But how do you think we should deal with these demons? Naturally, just as Yi Zichen was about to speak, he saw several dazzling lights flash in front of him, while countless shadows of staffs appeared in front of them. Children, charge! F***ck, this damn monkey! Another angry curse sounded out from afar. Stop blanking out, F***ck them up. This group of disgusting monsters, as well as those black and swarthy ones, kill them all for this daddy. Laozi will reward whoever kills the most. This familiar tone, the great sage, Yang Jian. The people of the three realms have arrived. Yi Zichen, who had already fallen into despair, and was prepared to die with them, suddenly released a brilliant light from his eyes. The people of the three realms have arrived. There's still a chance. How is this possible? Wei Chen was also stunned. The information he received clearly wasn't like this. It was impossible for the people of the three realms to come to the modern realm right now. The abyssals surrounding Yi Zichen all ran back as if they were summoned. At that very moment, a silver halberd fell from the sky. Bang! All of the abyssals within 100 meters were killed. At the same time, a man in silver armor appeared in the sky. Chapter 452. Hostages. Chapter 452. Hostage Yang Jian stood proudly in front of Yi Zichen with his halberd, while Yi Zichen, who was covered in blood, smiled. You guys finally came. All of a sudden, Yi Zichen felt like crying. It was fortunate that he didn't choose to leave. Even so, too many people in the modern realm had already met with mishaps. It was not the time to let down his guard. Isn't it all thanks to Lord Fatty? A chubby fatty suddenly appeared beside Yang Jian. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head when he saw Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head. Fatty-yin, you came as well. Be careful. One of the demons that should have been killed by Yang Jian actually crawled up from the ground. The fatty smiled, then turned around and punched with his left hook. Bang! Yi Zichen sent the huge demon flying with a punch, then clapped his hands and snorted proudly. I, Lord Fatty, have trained before. You want to sneak attack me from behind? I'll give you 2 guts. F***ck, he didn't die. Isn't this just slapping Laozi's face? Yang Jian raised his eyebrows in annoyance, then reached towards his halberd with his right hand. Die. He directly nailed the demon to the ground, and only then did he smile proudly. Little bastard, you're trying to act dumb in front of your Lord Yang Jian. Death is your only way out. Sky Sovereign. Big bro. At the same time, the monkey and third Prince Neza also hurried over. Yi Zichen nodded repeatedly as he looked at the familiar faces. Thank you. At that moment, he really didn't know what to say. If they didn't come, then the modern realm might really have been taken over by the demons. Z's, there's quite a lot of people. At that moment, a playful laugh sounded out in the sky. Everyone looked up and saw Gu Li holding Qiyu sword, while the 12 demon sovereigns and Su Yun stood beside him. Actually, Su Yun gave off a very strange feeling. Yi Zichen did not completely believe that he had truly become a member of the demon race. What's more, he did suspect that the figure just now was Su Yun, until she saw the thing in his hand. You may. Yi Zichen's eyes twitched. Mother Yi and the Ho brothers also hurried over behind him. Boss, sister-in-law was captured by the demon race. The Ho brothers' faces were filled with anxiety. When they looked up and saw Su Yun, they said, It's him. He said he's a friend. Now that you're in trouble, he wants sister-in-law to see you one last time. Creak. Su Yun. A pair of wings appeared on Yi Zichen's back. He glared at Su Yun, who was smiling faintly with bloodshot eyes. You're really despicable. How ridiculous. He even suspected that the shadow that helped him was Su Yun. What's so despicable about it? It's a tactic, understand? If it weren't for the fact that you brought the people of the three realms here, I wouldn't have to resort to such underhanded methods. But actually, this is also good. I have always disliked this woman. She stole a man from my disappointing sister. I have long wanted to kill her. Return Yume to me. Yi Zichen charged into the sky with bloodshot eyes. One of the 12 demon sovereigns in front of him punched him. Dong. Yi Zichen fell heavily onto the ground, while golden blood continuously flowed out from his mouth. Golden blood? A black-robed man walked out from behind the 12 demon sovereigns. The moment he appeared, all the demons bowed towards him. Lord Black Dragon. Bro. Yang Jian and company all surrounded him. Yi Zichen coughed intensely, then struggled to stand up from the ground and clenched his teeth. Su Yun, return Yume to me. Yi Zichen charged up once again without caring about his injuries. This time, it was not the 12 demon sovereigns that acted, but Lord Black Dragon. He grabbed Yi Zichen's neck and swiped his finger across Yi Zichen's mouth. It really is golden blood. Are you someone of the god race? God my ass. TSK. Yi Zichen spat on Yi Zichen's face. The other demon sovereigns all stepped forward, but were stopped by Lord Black Dragon. Can you tell me the origin of your golden blood? F***CKU. Yi Zichen glared fiercely at Lord Black Dragon, then looked to the side. Xiao Yumei, who was in Su Yun's hand, seemed to have been restricted by someone, as she continuously shook her head at him. Don't be afraid, I can definitely save you. Even though Lord Black Dragon was grabbing him by the neck, Yi Zichen continued to comfort Xiao Yumei with his hoarse voice. However, Xiao Yumei continuously shook her head, as if telling him to give up. He stubborn. Lord Black Dragon squinted his eyes and laughed coldly. He wiped away Yi Zichen's saliva and snorted. If you're not going to say it, then die. Eat my old son's staff. At that moment, a golden staff streaked across the sky. Lord Black Dragon subconsciously loosened his grip. Yang Jian also frowned at this moment. Yang Jian also frowned, howling celestial dog. Woof, woof, the howling celestial dog turned into a large black dog and caught Yi Zichen on its back. At the same time, he and third Prince Neza slowly flew towards the great sage and looked at the demons. Let my bro's wife go, and Grandpa will spare your lives. Yang Jian looked at the demons coldly. Lord Black Dragon smiled, then glanced at the great sage and company, victorious fighting Buddha, third Prince Neza, true Lord Erlang. Quite a few big shots from the 3 realms have come. Grandson, since you know that we're big shots, then hurry up and F***CK off. Give my bro's wife back, or else. Yang Jian's words were laced with threat. In response, the Black Dragon King merely smiled indifferently. At the same time, he gave Su Yun a meaningful look. Su Yun immediately understood. He grabbed Xiao Yumei by the neck, then slowly walked in front of Yi Zichen with the 6 demon sovereigns. Easy. Give Xiao Yumei back to me. OL3, you're not that kind of person. Sure, Su Yun snorted. Su Yun narrowed his eyes and snorted. Have everyone in the 3 realms withdraw from the modern realm. I'll return Yumei to you, untouched. I agree, Yi Zichen replied without thinking. But you have to let her go first. You still want to bargain with me when she's in my hands? Don't even think about pointing at those people from the heavenly court. The moment they make a move against us, I can break this woman's neck. OL3. Stop talking about relationships with me. Tell me your choice. Do you want this woman or the modern realm? Hesitation. Hearing that, Yi Zichen felt an endless struggle in his heart. During this period of time, everyone's gazes were on him. Xiao Yumei shook her head non-stop at him. Ding dong. System notification. Choose the modern realm. Sorry. Yi Zichen knelt on the ground and shook his head apologetically towards the people who were in danger. Then, he looked up towards Su Yun. Chapter 453. Drowning in despair and hatred to live. Everyone was stunned. None of them expected Yi Zichen to make such a choice. The system notification also told him to choose the modern realm, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't abandon his woman for the greater good. Perhaps I'm really selfish. Tears flowed down uncontrollably from Xiao Yumei's eyes as she continuously shook her head, as if telling him to give up on her. However, Yi Zichen merely smiled and shook his head. I'm a selfish person. Sorry. Yi Zichen, oh Yi Zichen. I really couldn't tell before that you have such a good way of picking up girls. Su Yun smiled sinisterly, then pointed at the soldiers of the 3 realms. Let them go. Yi Zichen nodded, then flew over to Yang Jian and company. When he arrived, the 3 of them were still bickering with Lord Black Dragon. Bro. Yang Jian immediately walked over. The apologetic look on Yi Zichen's face deepened when he saw the 3 of them. The three of them had paid a huge price in order to help me, but now I'm telling them to go back. Yang Jian, great sage, Neza, take your people and return to the three realms. The three of them were completely shocked by Yi Zichen's words. Sorry they made me choose. I can't abandon her. I'm really sorry. Take your people and go back. Yi Zichen smiled apologetically. Yi Zichen smiled wryly apologetically. Yang Jian frowned and wanted to say something, but the great sage pulled him back. Alright, we're leaving now. The great sage dragged Neza and Yang Jian away, while Yi Zichen repeatedly muttered, sorry. Gradually, the soldiers of the inner three realms left the battlefield. But even so, they still killed a lot of demons when they left. They're all gone. Return Xiao Yumei to me. Yi Zichen walked in front of Su Yun with a tired look. Su Yun raised his eyebrows and looked around. When he confirmed that everyone from the three realms had left, he raised his eyebrows with a smile. Oh, Yi Zichen, I didn't think that you would actually abandon the entire modern realm for this woman. Oh, Yi Zichen, I didn't think that you would actually abandon the entire modern realm for this woman. There's no need to hide it from me. I've already done what you asked. Return Yumei to me. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and raised his hand. He had already thought of a way to atone for his sins. When I get Yumei back, I'll get Tai Bai Jinxing to open up a path, and bring the people around him and the modern realm to the three realms. If he stayed here alone, he would kill as many as he could until he died in battle. But, ha ha! Su Yun suddenly laughed. Then the 6 demons behind him quickly subdued Yi Zichen and the people around him. Su Yun? A bad premonition rose from the bottom of Yi Zichen's heart. We have an agreement. You have to keep your word. Hey, don't you find it ridiculous to talk about integrity with someone like me? Su Yun laughed mockingly. Actually, that was just a trick to trick you. Who would have thought that you'd actually take the bait? Yi Zichen, you weren't this stupid when we met, were you? You, me? What's wrong with me? When there were people from the three realms, they were the bargaining chips to negotiate with me. Yet, you made the people of the three realms leave for a woman. Do you think that you still have the right to negotiate with us after losing the three realms' support? Su Yun, you're going to King die a horrible death. Yi Zichen struggled with all his might, but the weakest of the 12 demon sovereigns were of the sky immortal level. No matter how much he struggled, it was impossible for him to do anything. I don't know how I'm going to die. I just know that your woman is going to die. When he heard that, Yi Zichen's pupils constricted. He struggled even harder, while his head shook violently. I'll tell you, Yi. I want you to drown in despair and hatred. Do you think that she's enough? Su Yun grabbed Yumei's head with his right hand and lifted her into the air. At the same time, a ball of fire also appeared on his right hand. Burn. Clatter, a ring fell from the sky in front of Yi Zichen. At the same time, the 2 demon sovereigns released him from their restraints. Yi Zichen picked up the ring with trembling hands, then knelt on the ground and looked at it lifelessly. Yumei. Yi Zichen grabbed the ring with trembling hands. At that moment, Su Yun also walked over. It hurts a lot, right? The feeling of losing the woman you love is terrible, right? There's no such thing as justice in this world. You can't represent justice, just from your choice just now. You're a selfish person, aren't you? Yumei. Yi Zichen looked at Xiao Yumei, who had already disappeared. He twitched his mouth and grabbed the ring in his hand. What a pitiful guy, Gu Li also snickered. Gu Li also sneered. Su Yun nodded. What do you think humans like the most? Comedy? Gu Li raised his eyebrows. No, it's a revenge drama, Su Yun snorted. Su Yun snorted. A protagonist who has lost his faith, burning with rage and swearing vengeance. Anyone who sees it would be moved. Right now, isn't our young master Yi like the main character? Bang. Yi Zichen kicked Yi Zichen, causing him to fall onto the ground without any reaction. Su Yun also chuckled on the side. Look, how pitiful. Even I feel sad when I see it. What's even more pitiful is that he doesn't even have the chance to take revenge. Guli smiled indifferently, then raised Chiyu's sword. Let's end it here. He Yizichin raised his hand and gripped the sword. Yizichin, who remained lifeless, put the ring back into his pocket solemnly, then stood up from the ground and gripped the sword tightly. Ah! Yizichin screamed, while the surrounding purple demonic energy continuously surged into his body. The aura within his body continuously rose. Complete stage Earth Immortal, Human Immortal, Early Stage Human Immortal, Mid-Stage Human Immortal, Late Stage Human Immortal. The speed at which it rose left everyone dumbfounded. The rising aura only stopped when he reached the complete stage Human Immortal level. He raised his hand and grabbed Guli and Suyun's necks. It's time. At that moment Wei Chun suddenly frowned. Buzz, a ripple swept across the sky, causing everyone to lose consciousness. Old Man Lin slowly appeared in front of everyone with Linru, and looked at everything that happened. All right, let's end it here. From now on, the modern realm will be in a frozen state. I'll leave the Yellow Emperor's reincarnation to you. Yizichin suddenly thought of that. These words suddenly rang out in Yizichin's mind. When he turned around to look at Old Man Lin, the latter already squinted his eyes and snorted. Chapter 454. An Ascender outside a simple village. A young man in tattered clothes had a lifeless look in his eyes. His eyes were lifeless as he was led over by two guard-like men. Xueqi, this is for your village, the guard called out. The guard shouted a few words, and not long after, a young man who looked less than 30 years old walked out of the village. He was clothed in sackcloth, with 2 patches at the cuffs. It was obvious that this young man lived a poor life. It could even be said that he was in dire straits. Something's wrong. Why would an Ascender be sent to our village? Xueqi scratched his head in confusion. When he saw the young man next to the guard, his face instantly darkened. I knew it. Why would good stuff be sent to our village? Xueqi couldn't help but curse inwardly. His slightly hopeful heart gradually calmed down. Hurry up, this is the last one. Hurry up and give it a stamp. We're in a hurry to go drink. The guard furrowed his brows in displeasure. Xueqi nodded, quickly walked over, and spoke in a somewhat speechless manner. I say, sirs, although our village has fallen a bit, there's no need to send all sorts of repulsive people here. Look at this brat, what's he like now? He can't even do the most basic farm work. Food is so tight right now. Slap. The guard slapped Xueqi's head and scolded, you talk too much. It's already good enough that we're giving you a share. Hurry up, we're in a hurry. Fine. Then can I ask about this brat's background? Xueqi shrugged helplessly. One of the 2 guards said, I saw him on the Ascension spiritual formation. He should be an Ascender. You really know how to joke, Xueqi shrugged helplessly. Xueqi pursed his lips. After all, he was the village chief, so he should have some knowledge, all right? 2 years ago, an expert with the strength of a false Earth Immortal ascended from the village next to theirs. That heroic appearance, if it wasn't for the fact that the village chief gave his woman away as a concubine, his village wouldn't have been suppressed so badly. False Earth Immortal. That's the strength that an Ascender should have. Look at this guy, he's just an idiot. Who's joking with you? Do you think I'm that bored? Let me tell you, he was assigned here because of our many years of friendship. Maybe you've picked up a treasure. The guard smiled faintly. When he said this, even he himself did not believe it. When they first saw this Ascender, the 2 of them walked up to him respectfully, but in the end they saw an idiot. Who knew how this kid ascended to the immortal realm? Thank you. Xueqi couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Friendship. It's probably because the other villages didn't want him, so they sent him here. He took out a square stamp from his bosom and placed it on the golden ranking board in the guard's hand. All right. Xueqi put away the golden board and left. He squatted on the ground and stared at the young man in front of him. Brat, give me some hope. Tell me you're just pretending to be crazy. There was no response. If asterisk king no. Xueqi rolled his eyes speechlessly. Not long later, a girl wearing a floral dress walked out of the village with a white wildflower in her hand. Brother, what are you doing here? There's an ascender sent to our village. Xueqi rolled his eyes. Xueqi rolled his eyes. Hearing this, the woman hurriedly ran over and giggled. Wow, there's actually an ascender coming to our village. I have to take a look. When she got closer and saw the young man, the girl blinked and circled around him twice. How strange. It's strange if it's not strange. Don't think about it. It's impossible for good stuff to be sent to our village. Seriously, we have another mouth to feed. Jingqi sighed and shook his head. He grabbed the young man's shoulder and said to the girl, Let's go. Bring him to our house. I'm worried about leaving him alone. I'll put him in the house beside yours. Take care of him when you have nothing to do. Okay, the girl nodded with a smile. The fact that an ascender had settled in the village made everyone in the village smile. They all wanted to see the glory of the ascender, but Jingqi only smiled bitterly and shook his head. He had purposely spread the news. The guards had indeed been here, so there was no doubt that an ascender had settled in. He had spread the news in order to instill fear in the neighboring villages. However, he couldn't let outsiders know who the ascender was. Otherwise, the other villages might suppress their village even more. Let me tell you, Yizi. I want you to be immersed in despair and hatred. Do you think she's enough? How pitiful. How does it feel to watch the woman you love die? Yizi, I can only say that you're lucky. I'll wait for you to take revenge. See you in the Three Realms. I really look forward to it. I wonder how much you'll grow with hatred in your heart. Live on with hatred, ha 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 ha. The scenes played in his mind like a movie, and not long after, Old Man Lin's words before he left rang out in his mind again. It's been hard on you, but you're the only hope of the modern realm. I'll leave the demons to you. Phew. Color gradually returned to his lifeless eyes as he sat on the bed and clenched his fists. Su-yun, wait for me. Yi Zichen, you're awake? A comforting voice sounded out in Yi Zichen's mind. Not long later, Xianyuan Xiang walked out of the simple room with a faint smile. I thought you would collapse because of that. Almost, Yi Zichen scratched his head. Yi Zichen scratched his head a few times, then said with a hint of self-mockery. I really want to sink down just like that, but I feel like living on with a grudge isn't bad either. People have to have a goal. You want to take revenge. What else? Yi Zichen's gaze instantly darkened. He snorted as he looked out the window with a sneer. I can't just let Yume's matter go. Su-yun. I won't give him any chance the next time I see him. Since he likes to watch revenge dramas so much, then I'll let him watch them. Xianyuan Xiang frowned at Yi Zichen's reply. She could feel the intense hatred in his voice. She was very afraid that Yi Zichen would lose himself in his desire for revenge. But in the end, she was just an artifact spirit. Her master's sword was her path. Oh yeah, what is this place? Yi Zichen retracted his gloomy expression and looked around the room curiously. From the layout of the room, it didn't seem like the modern realm. The modern realm couldn't be so backward. What's more, it seemed like a small village from outside the window. Xianyuan Xiang followed his gaze and looked over, then shook her head with her brows raised. Chapter 455. Spiritual Breeze Village. Is this the Three Realms? When Yi Zichen climbed down from the bed, he noticed that he had already changed into a set of sackcloth clothes. To be honest, Yi Zichen really wasn't used to wearing clothes from the modern realm after getting used to it. Yi Zichen walked over to the window and looked outside. The quaint village gave off the feeling of a paradise. The willow trees were lush, and the grass was green. Nice job with the greenery. Creak. At that moment, the door to the room was pushed open. What entered Yi Zichen's eyes was a girl in a floral dress, who held a basin of water with a towel on top of it. Oh, you're awake? The girl put the basin of water to the side with a giggle, then quickly walked over. She was only as tall as Yi Zichen's shoulder, and when she got closer, Yi Zichen was able to smell the fragrance on her body. Her gem-like eyes were filled with ignorance, and were as pure as a piece of white paper. You! Yi Zichen subconsciously took a step back, while his tone contained a hint of hesitation. I'm Xuelan, the village chief's little sister. The girl replied with a giggle. From the looks of it, she should be around 20 years old, since she always smiled when she spoke. Village? Yeah, this is the Spiritual Breeze Village. There are plenty of other villages nearby. Our village used to be one of the biggest villages around here, but now… it's not small anymore, Xuelan smiled. Her extremely friendly smile caused Yi Zichen's resistance to weaken by quite a bit. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile, then asked once more. Which realm of the 3 realms does this place belong to? I'm not too sure either. Xuelan gave an ambiguous answer. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows in confusion, so she explained once more. This is where the 3 realms intersect, so it doesn't belong to any of them. But if we go by distance, then it should be the closest to the immortal region. I didn't expect him to actually ascend to a place that doesn't belong to any realm. Yi Zichen nodded. Could it be that due to my constitution, I can't accept any of the realms I'm in? Or perhaps it was actually Old Man Lin's doing, and he intentionally made me ascend here. However, just what kind of identity did Old Man Lin have? How could he control the modern world? Since he was so powerful that he could control the 12 demon sovereigns, why didn't he just kill them all? Why did he let him deal with the demons? This was strange. Our village has never had an ascendant appear before. The neighboring victorious village always oppresses our village because of a false earth immortal. How infuriating! Xuelan pouted angrily, while Yi Zichen was completely confused. False earth immortal? My lord! In his imagination, in the 3 realms, human immortals should be small fries. How could a false earth immortal be addressed as a lord here? What is considered strong here? One has to be at least at the spiritual body level to be considered a powerhouse. Xuelan blinked and replied, if he has the power of a perfected false spirit body, he shouldn't be too weak. Is this really the 3 realms? Yi Zichen was truly shocked. Complete stage false spiritual body wasn't too weak. All the human immortals he met in the modern realm were trash. All of a sudden, he thought of something. This place did not belong to any of the 3 realms. Perhaps it was just that the situation here was special. Xuelan nodded faintly. Seeing his expression, she smiled and said, don't mind it too much. You've already come to our village. It doesn't matter if you're weak. My brother will protect us. He's an expert with a spiritual body. Thank you. Xuelan replied with a smile before asking, what kind of world did you live in before? I'm very curious about where you ascenders live. How did you ascend here? My place is a very beautiful city. It's very technologically advanced, but the environment is very poor. As for how I ascended, our place was attacked by the outside world. We had no choice but to be forcibly brought up. Yi Zichen smiled. Hearing that, Xuelan's expression immediately changed. Wow, you're so pitiful. I'm all right. He smiled faintly. At this moment, a shout came from outside the door. Xiaolan, Xiaolan. Bang. The door to the room was pushed open, and a dark-skinned man wearing an animal skin coat walked in from outside. When he saw Yi Zichen, who was beside Xuelan. Who is this kid? He is. Just as Xuelan was about to answer, she recalled that her older brother told her not to say Yi Zichen's identity, so she smiled. He came from another village. That village was affected by the flood, and he was the only one who survived. Big Brother pitied him, so he accepted it. I see. The man narrowed his eyes and glanced at him, then raised his eyebrows and asked, what's your name? Yi Zichen. You look so skinny. Can you work? The man walked over and patted Yi Zichen's shoulder. The huge force caused Yi Zichen's shoulder to fall down. The man also laughed loudly. Don't worry. Young man, you still need to practice. Brother Stone is so bad. You only know how to bully newcomers. Xuelon pouted and waved her fist at the man, then introduced him to Yizichin. He's the vice-village head of our village, and is a good friend of my older brother. He's a very good person. Don't be fooled by his simple and honest appearance. He's even more scheming than my brother. Hey, you little girl, I don't have as many tricks as your brother. Shirtu rolled his eyes and said to Xuelon. Your sister-in-law said she wanted to learn embroidery from you. I told that old woman not to learn, but she insisted. You go and teach her. If she can learn it, then learn it. If she can't, then let her go hunting with me. All right, I'll head over now. When Xuelon skipped away from the room, Stone set his gaze back onto Yizichin and raised his eyebrows. Looking at you, you should have the strength of the 7th or 8th level of body refinement. There is only one principle in our village, and that is to work and eat. You can still make a living with your current strength. Work hard and find a wife in our village, and give birth to a child. But don't say I didn't warn you, don't even think about Xiaolan. She's been betrothed since she was young. I understand, Yizichin nodded. Da. At this moment, there was a sudden sound of hurried footsteps outside the door. Not long after, a bare-armed man ran over. There was still some blood on his face. What's wrong? Motherf *Ker, our village's brothers found an unmined mine. Those bastards from Victorious Village also saw it and insisted that it was theirs. Now that they're fighting, Village Chief Stone should hurry over. I'm afraid that Village Chief Xueqi won't be able to hold on. The man cursed angrily with red eyes. Stone narrowed his eyes and cursed back. Come, take me there. Those bastards of 100 Victories really think that they're invincible just because they have a false earth immortal backing them up. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly turned around and looked at Yizichin. Chapter 456. The mine dispute. Two groups of people stood opposite each other in front of a mine in the deep mountain range covered in weed. Zhou Zhenhe, don't go overboard. The man in sackcloth held a large knife and angrily scolded the man in silk clothes in front of him, who had an evil smile on his face. Xueqi, you're the village chief, aren't you wearing 2 tattered clothes? The man in silk clothes snorted, then stretched lazily. Our Zhou family is taking this mine. Our Zhou family is taking this mine. You spiritual breeze villagers, go back and do whatever you need to do. Don't go overboard. Xueqi glared at him angrily. Xueqi glared at him and said angrily, this mine was discovered by our village's brothers, and now you're saying that your Zhou family wants it? What? You don't accept it? As he spoke, Zhou Zhenhe took out a spiritual talisman from his bosom. The spiritual talisman was accompanied by a heart-palpitating spiritual power fluctuation. My brother-in-law told me to crush this sigil if anyone bullies me. Oh wow, he's an Earth Immortal expert. Do you think I should invite him or not? Creak. Everyone in the Spiritual Breeze village clenched their fists. This false Earth Immortal, if it wasn't for the existence of this false Earth Immortal, their village wouldn't have been suppressed to such a state by Baixing. The old village chief was angered to death. Although the young village chief had shocking talent, he was too young, and the village didn't want to give him too much pressure. Village chief, how about we let him go? Someone in the village said. Xueqi was merely of the spiritual body level. He was no match for a false Earth Immortal level expert. He's so funny. Isn't he just a false Earth Immortal? He's actually calling himself an Earth Immortal. Don't you have any shame? A playful snicker sounded out from behind the villagers. When they turned around, they saw Stone walk over with Yizichin and the man who came to report. Stone, why you came as well? Xueqi immediately used his spiritual consciousness to check Yizichin's strength when he saw him. Early stage false spiritual body? Xueqi's heart sank, but he quickly smiled. It's pretty good to have the strength of a false spiritual body. At least he's much stronger than an idiot. Who spoke just now? Zhou Zhenhe frowned. I said it, so what? Yi Zichen took a step forward, then looked down at him. You're dressed like a dog, but why are your ears so bad? I was the one who spoke just now. What's wrong? Are you a second-degree national disability and deaf? How dare you talk to me like that? Zhou Zhenhe laughed. Ever since his sister followed that false earth immortal expert, no one had ever dared to talk to him like that. What's there to be afraid of? We all have heads on our shoulders. What, you have two more than the others? Or do you think that the spirit talisman in your hand can scare people? Stop pretending. Isn't it because your sister was someone else's concubine? To put it nicely, she's a concubine, but to put it bluntly, she's a mistress. You're quite pleased that your sister is a mistress. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes at Zhou Zhenhe. Everyone from the Spiritual Breeze village was stunned, but they quickly cheered. Stone shouted the loudest. He hooked his arm around Yi Zichen's shoulder and laughed. Good boy, I like it. Yes, scold this little brat for me. He thinks that he's one of the 3 lords and 5 emperors just because he's a false earth immortal. Scold him. Big Brother Stone will take care of it for you if anything happens. Spiritual Breeze Village, you're forcing me. Zhou Zhenhe glared at them, but did not crush the talisman. It was a talisman that the false earth immortal gave him after his sister became a mistress. It was indeed a talisman, but he only gave him one. All these years, the Zhou family had been relying on this talisman to show off. If I crush it, then all of you will die. Little brat, are you trying to scare your Grandpa Stone? Grandpa will still be a man 18 years later, even if my head falls off. Crush it if you dare. If you want to eat your Grandpa Stone, then I'll knock out at least one of his teeth. Stone snorted with a fierce light in his eyes. The other men from the Spiritual Breeze village all agreed with him. They had enough of being cowards, they didn't want to be grandsons anymore. If they died, then so be it. At least they wouldn't be sullen. Zhou Zhenhe, crush it. Don't think that only your victorious village has ascenders. Our Spiritual Breeze village has them too. Xue Qi also stepped forward at this moment. His body emitted an unstoppable sharpness. Zhou Zhenhe hesitated slightly when he heard that. He could understand why Stone would be so arrogant. Xue Qi was the spiritual leader of the Spiritual Breeze village, yet even he acted like this. Could it be that the news of Spiritual Breeze village having ascenders was true? Their victorious village's ascenders had long since left the village, so they could only rely on this talisman. If they used this talisman, it would be fine if his brother-in-law could kill everyone in the Spiritual Breeze village. However, if Spiritual Breeze village had an expert with similar strength, then the two of them would just nod and forget their grudge. Then, victorious village would be ruined. All right, Xue Qi, Stone. I'll leave this lousy mine to you. We'll have plenty of time in the future. Zhou Zhenhe led the Zhou family away with a gloomy expression. Seeing the Zhou family leave, the men from the Spiritual Breeze village all cheered. This was the first time in 5 years that Victorious Village had lowered its head in front of Spiritual Breeze Village. Xue Qi, good job. Stone punched Xue Qi's shoulder and laughed. I didn't think you'd dare to fight Zhou Zhenhe head-on. But do these ascenders you speak of really exist? I always thought you were lying to outsiders. Of course. As he spoke, Xue Qi glanced at Yi Zichen from time to time. There really is. Rock was stunned and then he said, exactly where is that expert and how strong is he? Motherf ** Kerr, if he's strong enough, we'll just destroy him. I've been sick of him for a long time. How can it be so easy to invite an expert? Xue Qi smiled faintly, and Stone nodded in realization. You're right, but I still want to see that expert. If there's a chance, we'll naturally meet. Xue Qi patted him on the shoulder, then smiled at the villagers behind him. Brothers, let's cover up this mine. When we get back to the village tonight, we'll drink until we're drunk. When we're sober, we'll come to the mine to work. The surrounding villagers all chuckled and started to work. Xue Qi nodded with a smile, then slowly walked beside Yi Zichen. It was all thanks to you just now. You're pretty smart, otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to notice Zhozhenha's mistake if you didn't keep provoking him. It was nothing, Yi Zichen replied plainly, but couldn't help but retort in his heart. Actually, he didn't think that much. He didn't even care about false earth immortals. If they really came, then he would just beat them away. What's your name? Xueqi raised his eyebrows. Yi Zichen. I'm the village head of our spiritual breeze village, Xueqi. Xueqi smiled, then raised his eyebrows. I have to apologize to you. What is it? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows in confusion. Chapter 457. Xiao Yu. Yi Zichen nodded after a brief hesitation when he felt the apologetic and expectant tone in Xueqi's words. Since Xueqi told him not to reveal his identity, then he wouldn't. It wouldn't affect him too much anyway. Xueqi patted Yi Zichen's shoulders gratefully, then went back to work with the men in the village. Late into the night. Are you sure that Xueqi and company truly have an ascender? A white-haired elder with a hooked nose frowned as he looked at Zhozhenha, who was in front of him, within a luxurious room. I'm not sure, Zhozhenha shook his head. But there are rumors that the Golden List was indeed sent to Spiritual Breeze Village. That's why I'm a bit suspicious when I heard his confident tone. The room turned silent. After a long while, the white-haired, hook-nosed elder slammed the table and stood up. Don't mess with the Spiritual Breeze Village for now. Don't provoke the Spiritual Breeze Village for now. Find some time to invite the Golden Ranking Guards to our Zhou family for a meal. The bonfire was lit up. All the men and women in the village sat together, chatting, dancing and drinking. The Spiritual Breeze Village was truly proud this time. They were actually able to make those guys from Victorious Village suffer, so there was no need to mention how happy they were. From start to finish, Yi Zichen maintained his calm smile as he watched the villagers play around. At that moment, Stone walked over and put his arm around Yi Zichen's shoulder. Bro, Lousy has to toast you. Yi Zichen raised the bowl in his hand and clinked it with Stone, then downed it all. The wine here did not taste particularly good, but it was extremely strong. Yi Zichen felt like he was on fire as the wine flowed down his throat, causing his body to feel warm as if it was on fire. Ha ha, great. You're more and more to my liking. Just follow Lousy from now on. Stone also downed the wine and laughed heartily. Then he shook his head with a smile when he saw Xueqi, who was having a lot of fun with the men in the village. He's finally released his suppressed heart this time. In the eyes of everyone, Xueqi was someone who was extremely good at hiding his emotions. He would always be able to maintain his calm, but this time, he was truly unable to hold it in. The grandsons of Victorious Village were terrified. The grandsons who had suppressed them for so many years were terrified. Who told you all to drink like this? Are you all tired of living? Suddenly, a stern shout rang out from the village. Everyone turned around and saw a valiant woman standing outside the bonfire. When Xueqi saw her, he walked over with a drunken smile. Xiao Yu, you're back. You reek of alcohol. Stay away from me. The woman frowned and pushed Xueqi away with a snort. You're the village chief, yet you don't learn from good things. Xiao Yu, don't be so serious. It's just a drink with the brothers in the village. Stone also walked over at this time. The woman was not moved at all. She raised her eyebrows. You too. As the vice village chief, why are you messing around with Xueqi instead of assisting him? When I came back just now, I didn't see anyone on guard. What would you do if someone from the other villages came with you? Both Xueqi and Stone did not dare to say anything, while Yi Zichen was completely shocked. This woman is so powerful. Sister Xiaoyu. Xuelan skipped over at this moment. Looking at her two brothers who were bowing their heads in apology, she pursed her lips and said with a smile, Big sister, don't be angry at them. I'm not angry, I'm worried. The Spiritual Breeze Village itself is… Forget it, let's not talk about it. Hurry up and remove the bonfire. Send a few people out to stand guard. All right, I'll arrange it right away. Yi Zichen blinked a few times, then returned to his room. On the way back, the woman named Xiao Yu subconsciously glanced in his direction. Who is he? I've never seen him in the village before. He is. Xuelan whispered into her ear and explained. Xiao Yu nodded and narrowed her eyes. An ascender, huh? He's actually so weak. Sister, he is very pitiful. Xuelan repeated the story that Yi Zichen told her. Lil Yu shook her head and snickered. However, Lil Lan shook her head and snickered. Don't believe that kind of pitiful words. Lil Lan, you're inexperienced. Be careful of that guy in the future. Yi Zichen naturally did not know what was going on outside. At that moment, he was lying on the wooden bed and holding his phone on the bedside table. Buzz, a familiar ringtone sounded out. Yi Zichen let out a sigh of relief, but when he saw the time on his phone, so much time has passed? He clearly remembered that it was the 9th when the modern realm's apocalypse descended, but it was already the 16th now. An entire week had already passed. I wonder how they are, Yi Zichen sighed, then clenched his fist. His life after descending to the 3 realms was rather stable, but he was worried about his family and friends. Will they be frozen in the modern realm, or will they appear in the 3 realms? It's fine if they're frozen, but if they appear in the 3 realms, are you thinking about them? Xianyuan Xiang sat down with a smile. Yi Zichen nodded, then looked at the bright moon outside. I'm very worried about them. Actually, I wanted to tell you when you woke up. Some of the people around you ascended to the 3 realms with you, but you guys landed in different places. However, your landing points are different. I had probed their positions at that time, but I could only vaguely sense their existence. Xianyuan Xiang replied plainly. Hearing that, Yi Zichen's shoulders trembled. As I thought, they ascended as well. Would it be possible for me to go and find them now? Yi Zichen squinted his eyes. Xianyuan Xiang shook her head with a smile. How could it be? You're very safe here. What you need to do is to steadily increase your strength here. If you want to travel in the 3 realms, you won't even know how you died without a complete stage human immortal. As for your friends, you don't have to worry. According to my detection, they should have been taken away by the big organizations. Their situations are much better than yours. All right, Yi Zichen sighed helplessly. Yi Zichen sighed helplessly, then subconsciously glanced at the location of the network on his phone wave. Based on his experience in the underworld, he should be able to connect to the internet if there were wave. Yi Zichen clicked open the chat group. The members of the group did not seem to know what was going on in the modern realm, and continued to chat in the group. However, their topics revolved around Yang Jian and Neza. God of Thunder, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. No matter what, the 2 of them are great deities. Mother of Lightning agreed. God of Fortune, but the problem isn't great deities. It's not like my colleagues didn't notice just how angry the Jade Emperor is. Yu Lao. He might lose his military power, but there shouldn't be any other problems. Chapter 458. The system takes action. Yi Zichen, who was watching the chat, felt his heart skip a beat. The great sage is actually going to wreak havoc in the heavenly court. Combined with the messages in the group, military power, the Jade Emperor. Could Yang Jian and Neza have been captured by the Jade Emperor? Can someone tell me the specifics? The moment Yi Zichen spoke up, the other members in the group immediately started to talk. God of Thunder, Sky Sovereign, where have you been for so long? Immortality Peach Fairy. Go, why haven't you spoken up? Yu Lao, did you take care of the situation in the modern realm? Old Lord Taishang. The group instantly flooded with messages, but no one brought up the topic again. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and raised his eyebrows. What happened to the heavenly court? What happened to Yang Jian and Neza? God of Thunder, Mother of Lightning, Sky Sovereign, just leave it. Yu Lao, this isn't something we can get involved in. Old Lord Taishang agreed. God of Fortune, hurry up and say, did the Jade Emperor capture Yang Jian and Neza? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows tightly. Not long later, the monkey replied in the group. Monkey King. Yes, the geezer Jade Emperor was captured by them. I, old son, am going to raise my army and wreak havoc. Are you coming or not? God of Thunder. Monkey King, great sage, you can't do that. Yulao, yeah, let's talk this out. The execution hasn't been decided yet. Immortality Peach Fairy. I like to watch people fight, but I don't like watching people fight. As I thought, the Jade Emperor did capture them. The reason for that was obvious. It was because they sent out their army to slay demons. It's a good thing that the Jade Emperor sent out his army to slay demons, but he actually wanted to capture them to punish them. Since it started because of me, I definitely can't just watch as the Jade Emperor takes away their military power. Monkey King, don't be in such a hurry. Wait for my news. With that, Yi Zichen exited the chat group and shouted towards the surroundings of the room. You can hear me, right? System, you can hear me, right? System notification. What is it, little friend? Are you not used to the 3 realms yet? Do you need me to tell you a story before you can sleep? The system notification popped up almost instantly. Even Xianyuan Xiang, who was on the side, was shocked. Don't argue with me. I haven't settled the score with you in the modern world. If the system had told him about the situation in the modern world earlier, perhaps the situation wouldn't have developed so badly. Xiao Yumei wouldn't, Yang Jian and Neza wouldn't be captured by the Jade Emperor. All of this was a chain reaction. As for the source, it was the system. System notification. The modern world is destined to face such a calamity. It's not something that I can change, even if I say it or not. Besides, I can't possibly go against the heavens, right? This is fate. Then you must feel quite wronged. System notification. You can understand it that way. If it weren't for the fact that he was weak, he wouldn't have been able to catch the shadow of the system notification. Otherwise, Yi Zichen really wanted to punch him. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh and raised his eyebrows. Forget it, I don't want to talk too much with you. Yang Jian and Neza have been captured by the Jade Emperor. It seems like he wants to take away his military power. You should have a way to stop it, right? System notification. Smart. But why should I help you? I'm not going to bicker with you about the modern realm. System notification. So what if you bicker with me? That isn't something you can use to get me to help you. Creak. This guy, Yi Zichen clenched his teeth and snorted as he looked at the system notification. Then what do you want me to do? System notification. About that, I didn't think of it yet. How about this, just treat it as you owe me a promise. If I need it, then you can just return it to me. All right. Yi Zichen nodded without any hesitation, then disappeared after saying, Wait for my news. Yi Zichen put his phone to the side, then laid down on the bed. Xianyuan Xiang blinked and looked at his phone, then asked, Were you chatting with this phone just now? Yi Zichen nodded, then spoke up once again. This isn't a normal phone. It should be controlled by someone. Then he can convince the Jade Emperor? Probably. Yi Zichen was a bit unsure, but since he answered so confidently, then he should have some sort of method. In the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, the Jade Emperor, who was wearing a dragon robe, sat on a chair. He looked down at Yang Jian and Neza with a dark expression. At that moment, only the 3 of them were in the palace. They had already stayed there for a week, and none of them had taken a single step out of the palace. Yang Jian, Neza, this sovereign has heard most of what you said, but it still cannot be a reason for you to bring troops down to the lower realms. Slaying demons and protecting the Tao is my duty. Why can't I? Yang Jian argued. However, the Jade Emperor shook his head with a smile. There's no need to say anything else. There's no need to say anything more. Hand over the commander's seal. Jade Emperor. Just as the Jade Emperor was about to take the commander's seal, a chuckle suddenly sounded out in his mind. I feel like we can let them go. Who are you? The Jade Emperor frowned and replied in his sea of consciousness. At the same time, He released his spiritual consciousness in an attempt to find the person who had spoken in his mind. Stop looking, you won't be able to find me. I'm someone above you. The Jade Emperor's body trembled. After a long while, he finally suppressed his shock and replied, Your Excellency, a friend asked me to plead for you. The Jade Emperor and Neza are both loyal people. I feel that it's not a bad idea to leave the military power in their hands. If you strip them of their military power, you might regret it one day in the future. The Jade Emperor's expression changed when he heard the reply in his sea of consciousness. The other party's words shouldn't be without reason. If he delved deeper into it, was the other party saying that the heaven would face a mutiny? Yang Jian and Neza would actually stand on his side, but he stripped them of their military power. At that moment, he didn't dare to continue thinking. Your Excellency, can you explain it clearly? The secrets of heaven cannot be revealed. The man's reply sounded in his sea of consciousness again. That's all I have to say. It's up to you. Then I wonder if Your Excellency can tell that friend of yours. Idealism. After leaving such a sentence, there was no reply in his sea of consciousness. The Jade Emperor frowned and kept thinking about the last sentence of the expert in his sea of consciousness. Idealism. What a profound answer. Idealism. Did the other party want him to follow his thoughts, or did he answer that the person's name was actually Idealism? The Jade Emperor shook his head in confusion. When he came back to his senses, he saw that Yang Jian and Neza had already handed over the commander's seal. Forget it. The commander's seal is still in your hands. Remember, don't do it again. Whoosh. Chapter 459. Make things difficult. Ding dong. Just as Yi Zichen was about to fall asleep, his phone rang. He flipped over and grabbed the phone, glancing at the message. System notification. Done. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then clicked into the group and saw that both Yang Jian and Neza had appeared. Erling Shin. Haha, I'm out. Neza. Haha, I'm out. It seemed like they were in a good mood after coming out of the soaring Heaven King Palace. Monkey King. You two are out. How was it? The Jade Emperor didn't make things difficult for you, did he? Yu Lao. It's good that he's out, it's good that he's out. God of Thunder, what was the result? Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly. Brat, what are you doing in the group? Hurry up and come home. I'll beat you up. Third Prince Neza, you can't beat me. Pagoda bearing Heavenly Kingly, black face. Erling Shin, thank you for everyone's concern. Our trip to the Cloudy Palace of the Golden Arches is just a formality. The military power was still in his hands, his salary was still the same, and his body and mind were still free. Thunder God. Really? Erling Shin, why would I lie to you? You can ask Neza if you don't believe me. Third Prince Neza, Brother Yang Jian is telling the truth. Everyone in the group was dumbfounded. They saw the Jade Emperor's dark face. He almost wanted to skin Yang Jian and Neza alive. Now, the two of them actually went to the group and said that nothing had happened and that they had not received any punishment at all. All of a sudden, everyone recalled what Heavenly Lord Nameless had said. God of Thunder, the Sky Sovereign is indeed an expert. Mother of Lightning, agreed. God of Fortune, agreed. Moon Lord, agreed. Immortality Peach Fairy, agreed. A row of immortals replied in such a formation. Yang Jian was stunned and could not help but raise his eyebrows. Erling Shin, what happened to my bro? Monkey King, looks like old Sun was wrong again. Amazing, amazing. Yang Jian, it's all thanks to your brother that you were able to come out this time. The deities in the group continuously spammed the chat. When Yi Zichen saw Yang Jian and company come out, he finally relaxed. Thanks. System notification, you're too polite. Remember that you owe me a promise. After nodding his head slightly, the system notification did not say anything else. Yi Zichen's eyes were filled with confusion as he looked at the gradually disappearing system notification. Since he could persuade the Jade Emperor, It was obvious that he was at the same level as the Jade Emperor, or even someone of a higher level. But he also said that he couldn't order the 6 realms patrolling inspector around. Then, could he be someone from the upper realm? Yi Zichen shook his head and put his phone to the side, then laid on the bed to rest. The next day, just as the sky brightened, Yi Zichen, who would definitely still be snoring away in the modern realm, was forcefully dragged out of bed. He yawned listlessly. He had drunk quite a lot of strong alcohol yesterday, and he had stayed up very late to deal with the heavenly court's matters. He had slept for less than 4 hours. Compared to the 10 hours he used to sleep, the difference was too big. It would be strange if he wasn't sleepy. "Kid, looks like you're also a lazy bum." Sure carried a large axe on his shoulder and teased, "I like to sleep in too. I wasn't used to it when I first started working, but look at me now. I've already run around and hunted a few wild animals before going to your place to call you." "All right," Yi Zichen yawned again. Yi Zichen yawned again, then blinked. "Where are you taking me so early in the morning?" "Of course it's to work." Stone raised his eyebrows. "How are you going to get a wife if you don't work hard?" "All right." Yi Zichen nodded listlessly, then spoke up once again. "Kid, you know too little since you just came to our village. You have to work to earn money to eat and get a wife. Also, the house you're living in belongs to old Shui. You won't be able to live there when he gets a wife. You should work more as soon as possible and buy a piece of land in the village to get a house." "Understood," Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen smiled. For some reason, he felt like this place was like a primitive tribe. But it's pretty nice. Whoever works harder gets to eat better. It's very fair. "Oh yeah, Stonebro, where are you taking me to work?" "Hey, Stonebro definitely has to take care of you. Big Bro will take you to the mine this time," Stone smiled. "Shueqi said that the first 10 kilograms of the mine will be given to the village, the remaining 30% will be yours, 60% will be used for the village's development, and 1% will be given to the person who discovered it. I'm telling you, this is a good job. There aren't a lot of spots, so Big Bro spent a lot of effort to get you a spot." "Then thank you so much, Stonebro." Yi Zichen smiled sincerely. In his heart, he nodded towards Shueqi's arrangement. It seems like this village chief has some tricks up his sleeves. Approximately an hour later, the two of them arrived at the mine. Yi Zichen, who thought that he had arrived early enough, noticed that there were already plenty of men standing there bare-chested as they swung their hammers. Someone would occasionally shout out how much they dug up. All in all, it was a very lively scene. "See, there are plenty of hard-working people in our village. If you don't work hard, then your wife will be taken away. There are plenty of pretty girls in our village." I know. This Stonebro is really interesting. He can't stop talking about wives." But then again, when Yi Zichen thought about the development of the village, getting a wife was indeed a very important task. Why is he here? At that moment, a woman in a plain dress walked out from the depths of the mine. Yi Zichen subconsciously looked up and saw that it was Xiaoyu from yesterday. "I snatched a spot for this brat. Newcomer, take care of him." Stone was obviously very afraid of women. He didn't even dare to say his catchphrase in front of her. "And then let him go. Don't say that I don't take care of the newbies. Do you see the empty space on the right? It should be black iron Oregon. Let him go. He can definitely sell it for a good price after mining it." "Lil," Yu replied with her arms crossed. Stone narrowed his eyes. "Xiaoyu, what you're doing is a little too much. The density of black iron ores is extremely high. Even a spiritual body expert would find it extremely difficult to mine it, let alone a spiritual body expert." Shurtu had detected that his little brother was only at the 7th or 8th level of body refinement. "Aren't you making things difficult for me? I see that the brass mine over there is quite good. Little brother, you should go over there." Shoving the hammer into his hand, Shurtu pushed him over. Xiaoyu smiled faintly and stopped him, shaking her head. "No, Shueqi said that I'm in charge of the assignments here. He must go over there." Lil you. Stone glared. However, Yi Zichen shook his head and grabbed his shoulder with a smile. Stone bro, I'll go. With that, Yi Zichen walked towards the black iron ores. Chapter 460. Troublesome black crystal mine. Slowly walking to the front of the black iron ore, Xiao Yu crossed her arms from start to finish, a cold smile on her face as she watched from the side. She could already imagine Yi Zichen's dejected look when he couldn't deal with the black iron ores. As he got closer, he noticed that the mineral vein here was completely black, giving off a crystal-clear feeling. TSK, that little girl over there is wrong. This isn't some black iron Oregon. It's clearly a black crystal Oregon. Xianyuan Xiang twitched her mouth and shook her head, but Yi Zichen didn't mind too much. In his eyes, it didn't matter what kind of ore it was. Anyway, he didn't know what this ore was used for. The immortal spiritual energy in his arm gradually flowed towards the mining hammer, and he swung it downwards with all his might. Ding! A clear sound of impact sounded out, but to Yi Zichen's surprise, there were no cracks on the mine at all. What's the situation? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then used even more spiritual energy to wave downwards. Ding! Yi Zichen looked at the ores in front of him in shock. He had used all of his spiritual energy just now. He was only a step away from becoming a human immortal, and he had the power of the dragon race's secret manual. It couldn't even shake this mine? Xiao Yu, who was at the side, also smiled in satisfaction. A small person who hadn't even reached the false spiritual body stage actually wanted to touch the black iron ores. He laughed mockingly in his heart. Who asked this guy to lie to Xiaolan? I must laugh at him when he comes over later. Brother, don't waste time with it. With your current strength, there is no way you can mine it. Stone comforted Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile, then picked up the hammer. TSK, so stubborn. Xiao Yu sneered from behind. Stone glared at her fiercely and said, I think you're really sick. How did little brother offend you? He just came to our village. He's also a very kind person. Do you know how we got our hands on this mine? It's all thanks to him. It's none of your business. Xiao Yu curled her lips and snorted coldly in her heart. Men who lie are not good. Yi Zichen scratched his head as he stood in front of the mine and looked up at Xianyuan Xiang, who was floating in midair. What black crystal mine did you say it was? That's right. You're really impatient. You didn't even wait for me to finish. Black crystal ore is considered a rather high-grade ore in the three realms. Even perfected human immortals would find it hard to mine it. Hearing that, Yi Zichen was stunned. Then what should I do? Should I just leave this mine here and admit defeat? Just now, he swore that he wanted to slap that woman's face. If he admitted defeat, wouldn't it be a slap to his own face? How is this admitting defeat? If you let that little girl do it, she'll be even more helpless. Xianyuan Xiang spread her hands in midair. There was nothing wrong with what he said, but Yi Zichen just couldn't accept it. He licked his lips, sat cross-legged on the ground, and took out his phone from his pocket. Regardless of whether he could mine it or not, even if he could, it would be too much of a waste of time to use his spiritual power to mine it little by little. Work was all about efficiency. He opened the social media app and found Yu Lao's profile picture. Yu Lao. Yu Lao was naturally the highest manager of the industrial base that Yi Zichen sent to the Heavenly Court and started its operations. Not only did the Jade Emperor not become unhappy with the appearance of the industrial factory, he even praised him. This industrial park had solved the problem of many laid-off workers in the Heavenly Court, and the workers in the factory were all busy at work. Of course, according to Yi Zichen, only the food processing factory was booked. Ding dong. His cell phone rang. Yu Lao, who was patrolling the factory, hurriedly walked to a deserted place and replied after seeing the notification. Celestial Master. Yes, our industrial park has been started, right? It's activated. Yu Lao glanced at the busy employees in the factory and smiled. According to your instructions, Only the food processing factory has been activated. That's good. Yi Zichen nodded, then raised his eyebrows. Take a look at the production guide I sent you. Find the chemical section and see if there's a section for explosives. Explosives? Yu Lao raised his eyebrows suspiciously. He then took out the production guide and found the chemical engineering interface. After a while, he replied again. Yes. Nice. Yi Zichen smiled when he saw the reply, then replied, Find a few technicians to make some explosives for me. Find a few technicians to make some explosives for me. I need them urgently. No problem. As soon as he finished speaking, Yu Lao went to look for the technicians. At the same time, Lil Yu also appeared behind him and snorted with a smile. Are the ores going to jump out by themselves if you just sit here? Yi Zichen frowned in displeasure when he felt the ambiguity in her tone. I don't seem to have offended this woman before. Why is she talking to me like that and targeting me? Yi Zichen licked his lips, then stood up from the ground and patted the dust behind him with a shrug. I don't need you to worry about that. It's my problem how I want to do it. But you're delaying our village's mining progress by not working, Lil Yu snorted relentlessly. Don't forget, you guys have a mission target of 10 kilograms here. If you can't reach it, then you won't even be able to eat dinner. I said it already, I don't need you to worry about that. Just hurry up and be a supervisor, alright? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes at Lil Yu, then ignored her. Lil Yu frowned, then snatched the mining hammer from his hands while he wasn't paying attention and smashed it onto the black crystal ore. Ding. She had wanted to use this chance to attack Yi Zichen, but the result? There was no reaction. Serves you right. Yi Zichen laughed coldly in his heart, but he did not show it. He snatched the mining hammer back and snickered. Lord Supervisor, can you stop messing around here? At that moment, Lil Yu's heart was filled with confusion. This shouldn't be happening. She's a complete stage spiritual body, she's the strongest in the village. Although black iron ores were rather dense, it wouldn't affect the mining at her level. Could it be that I exerted force too hastily? Lil Yu was confused. She still thought that the mine was black iron ores, mainly because she didn't dare to imagine that it was a black crystal mine. If it was a black crystal mine, then the spiritual breeze village might not be able to mine it. Perhaps they would all face annihilation. Yi Zichen shook his head and retreated. At the same time, Yi Zichen's phone rang once again.